Good evening and welcome to KUMBTV's Eyes Up Mother Brown. We are back again. It's West Ham United versus Manchester United. Tonight, the Hammers looking to continue our fight for a European spot at Old Trafford. Going to be a tough game, this one, but fortunately, the likes of Leeds and Burnley and even Arsenal have done the Hammers a favour already this weekend. Before we get onto that, we're going to have a look at the teams straight away. We're going to go right over to Gnome, who is joining me tonight along with Rio and the Pink Palermo. Good evening, gentlemen. How are we all doing?
Hey, Rio. Not bad, not bad.
I
suppose you want the teams then?
Oh, fire away.
Okay, we line up as follows. In goal, Fabianski. And we have Soufal, Dawson, Diop, Cresswell, Souček, Rice, Johnson, Noble, Bowen and Antonio. And quite a lot of youth on the bench. Balbuena, Benrahma, Lanzini, Alves, the two goalkeepers, Martin and Trott, Odubeku and Coventry. The hosts this evening line up as follows. Henderson, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, James and Rashford. There's a change to the referee from when I looked it up earlier on in the week. It was slated to be Chris Kavanagh, but for some reason he's been replaced by Martin Atkinson. There you go.
Was Atkinson the fourth official or something, Gnome, originally?
I have no idea, actually. As I say, I know it's going to be Kavanagh. Atkinson, we went through a spell last season. We seemed to get him every 3 games. He was the sort of default referee for West Ham. Not the best, not the worst. He turns up and does the job. He's not a headline hugger, shall we say.
I've no idea who you could possibly be referring to there.
No, can't think.
Anyway, Rio, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
You too, mate. I'm not too bad, thank you. A bit knackered, but there you go.
Well, we'll try not to keep everyone up too late tonight, even though this is one of those ridiculous Sunday evening fixtures. Looking at the team, no Jesse Lingard, no Pablo Fornals, presumably one of the players David Moyes was referring to during his press conference on Friday when he said 1 or 2 were struggling. But Mark Noble is back in the team for, according to Mr. Palermo, his 521st appearance for West Ham United.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of 2 things, I think. How bereft of options we are as a club. But also there's an element that both Noble and Johnson had decent games up at Old Trafford in the Cup game recently.
Yeah.
He seems to his trusted allies, trusted soldiers. Right? There's a lot of exuberance and confidence before the game, from particularly on the forum. That's obviously been curtailed a lot by the announcement of the squad. But in Moyes we trust, and he's gone to his main lieutenant in Noble. Ben Johnson, as I said, had a really good game up at Old Trafford in the Cup. You know, and you might think that him and Soufal might double up on Fernandes or something like that. So, you know, you've got to put faith in the manager. I mean, he's done incredibly well so far. Despite the negativity thrown through the forum at the moment, let's have a little bit of faith for a change, eh?
Absolutely. Why not? Any concerns about Johnson coming back into the team, Rio? He struggled a little bit against Man City, didn't he? Especially in the first hour or so.
Yeah. I say, up at Old Trafford in the Cup game, I think probably one of the best players throughout the whole squad.
Yeah.
Obviously, Manchester City are a class above, aren't they? So many a fullback is going to be tested and torn to shreds by their lineup. It was a sticky start, you know. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah.
He grew into the game. He got more confident. And as we progressed and gained more confidence as a team, he seemed to thrive on that. So against the Man United side, obviously decent, but the same league as City, he might just be able to step up to the mark again.
Good stuff. Well, let's hope so. Mr. Palermo, how you doing, sir? Good to see you again.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, and, you know, I know the Premier League have taken some stick for the scheduling of this fixture at, 7:15 on a Sunday evening, but think about it, lads. For those that forgot today was Mother's Day and have felt guilty all day about getting their mum precisely nothing, what better way to actually say to your mum that you love her than plonking her down in front of the TV this evening to watch the famous West Ham United for a couple of hours. So I think well done the Premier League. They've dug a lot of young men out of a hole today. And I think what people's mums could look forward to tonight is a hard-fought draw, dare I say it. Because being no doubt, this is bare bones territory in the squad. I'm a huge fan of Mark Noble, but he shouldn't be starting where he's starting tonight away at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
And it's the price you pay for having players on loan from other clubs, and inevitably the games they can't feature in are the games that then you get knocks to other players. I think one or two eyes might be sort of raised at the fact that Said Benrahma still can't get in the starting lineup.
Yes.
And maybe that's a cause for concern for that particular player, because, when it is bare bones stuff and you can't make the starting lineup, then the manager really is saying there's an aspect of your game I don't particularly like. Young Ben Johnson coming in, you've got to learn sometime, and no better place to learn than Old Trafford, I guess. So I'm not too worried about him. It's a free game for Ben. I wouldn't have huge expectations other than do the basics right and see what he can do for the team. But over on Red Cafe that I've been having a read of this afternoon,
Yes.
Not a huge amount of confidence from their supporters either this afternoon.
Okay.
They're pleased that Rashford's made the starting lineup. There was some debate as to whether or not he would, but there's real concerns being expressed on there that this is a must-win game for Manchester United, and I can see why they're saying that, but I don't think they've actually got the bench to back that up today. I think the starting 11 they've gone with is absolutely the strongest that Solskjaer had available to him.
Yeah.
And their bench, you look at it, you got Matic on their defensive midfielder, Bailey or whatever his name is at the back. There's no real firepower on that bench, to come off the bench and make a difference. So if his first 11 don't do it, he's got nothing in reserve. So all points towards a draw for me tonight.
Good stuff. Good stuff. No, Manchester United, as Pinky was pointing out there, also missing a fair few players. Now, loath as I am to make the same error as the guy who pronounced Monch 2 as man get out the other day. Is it Shaw Tyre on the bench? Do we know? It's probably Shorettery or something like that.
Let's have a look. Sorry, I didn't really look at their bench. So we've got what you mean, the bloke with the coveted number 74 shirt?
Yeah, that of course.
I'll wait and see what the commentators say on that one.
Okay.
If he gets on, I'll just pray he doesn't. But before we move on to that, I do have to pass on a message to Pinky. And I've just had a message from my beloved, who says, as good as West Ham are, there is no substitute for a card on Mother's Day. So there was, I think...
I'm not having that. I'm not having that. I will tell you right now, there is nothing more you could do for your mum tonight, anyone's mum tonight. Plonk her down in front of the TV, watch West Ham United. She will love it. So to anyone viewing who hasn't...
Do you want to spoil them that much, though?
It's only once a year. It's only once a year.
True.
I think we can risk it.
But anyway, don't shoot the message passed on and delivered. There you go, love.
Prediction time, gentlemen. About 15 minutes to go until kick-off. Pinky, you said you fancy a draw here tonight.
Yeah, 1-1. Last week I was saying, looking at the state of the league table, I sort of contradicted myself in the space of 5 minutes. I said, draws are no good at this stage of the season. We need wins. And then right at the end of last week's show, I said, but I'd settle for a point at Old Trafford. And looking at the starting lineup each team has tonight, I'll settle for a point at Old Trafford. I mean, it's not been a happy hunting ground for us in the Premier League era.
No.
We tend not to get very much in league matches at Old Trafford. So you know, a win tonight would be over the moon territory, but a draw, probably the best we can hope for. Low scoring, 1-1, something of that nature.
Okay, good stuff. We did, of course, get a draw there last year, which was a rarity, as Pinky says. Mikhail Antonio scoring from the penalty spot before Mason Greenwood equalised 6 minutes into the second half. But that was then, and this is now. But we've already had Everyone's Got to Learn Sometime, and so we've gone from the Corgis to the ABC for those who like their 70s and 80s pop. Rio, your prediction for tonight, please, buddy. What do you reckon?
My negativity has shone through in, apart from the Leeds game, has shone through in recent weeks.
Yeah,
it's held me in good stead as we've confounded the critics and the predictions and put in some performances.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for a little bit of a turgid, tactical 2-0 defeat, and just hope that that's going to counter the gods and throw us up at least a point somewhere. But yeah, 2-0 defeat, I'm afraid.
Okay. No, can we pull a win out of you tonight? What do you reckon?
It's entirely possible, and not. It wouldn't be sort of the surprise it might have been in other years, perhaps. Yeah. But I think I'm thinking along the same lines of Pinky. All week I've had 1-1 in my head for this one, that's what I'm going to stick with. I think I'll just stick with the 1-1.
Okay. So that's a 1-1 for Pinky, 1-1 for Gnome, 2-0 defeat for Rio. I'm going to buck the trend. I'm going to go for one of those famous 1-0 defeats. No idea who's going to get. Probably Mark Noble. Let's say Mark Noble from the penalty spot in the 87th minute. We'd take that, wouldn't we? So I'll go for a cheeky West Ham win against all the odds, given the team we've got out there tonight. Some games this weekend have gone our way, gentlemen, haven't they? We saw Everton surprisingly beaten at home by Burnley. We saw Chelsea surprisingly held by dirty Leeds United. And today we saw Tottenham go from a commanding position, leading 1-0 against Arsenal, to go down 2-1. And then the game with 10 men. Rio, did you enjoy that one this afternoon? I mean, it was tempered, of course, by the fact it was Arsenal doing the damage, but helped us, no doubt.
Helps us greatly, and there's nothing better than a Tottenham defeat, even if he's against the other lot. I was more impressed and happy that I was travelling back from a kind of surreptitious visit to see my parents who moved down to Kent. So I was checking the commentary on BBC. And I was absolutely amazed that they called, was it Lamella who opened the scoring for Tottenham?
Yeah.
So it was a world-class goal with the Rabona.
Yeah.
And it was nothing special, was it? It was just poor keeping and a bit of a Rabona scuff, if you ask me. There wasn't nothing in it. World-class is pushing it incredibly highly. But then he goes and redeems himself by getting sent off. So Eric Lamella's in my good books at the moment. I do like the fella now. I won't ever again after tonight, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that. A Rabona scuff. You've never heard that one before, folks. There you go. The new definition. Pinky, you said recently, we talked about the Man City game as essentially being a free hit for West Ham. Given what's happened already this weekend, is this another one? We can kind of go out with a little bit more confidence, perhaps, given the fact that those teams around us challenging us have, drop points.
Very much so. At this stage of the season, they all say they don't look at the league table and all the rest of it. Yeah, righto. Yeah, they all look at the league table. Believe me, that's all they're looking at this stage of the season. And this afternoon's result for Tottenham Hotspur was an absolute disaster for them. Not just the actual final score, but the nature of it was very, very poor. The other side of the coin, Leicester City today had a fantastic win for them today, 5-0 against completely unlovable Sheffield United, who, I won't dare and look at the table to see how many points they are below West Ham United at this point in time. And the answer is not enough. So that's another reason for wanting a West Ham win tonight. But no, it's a free hit tonight because, firstly, it's Manchester United at Old Trafford. And do you know what? It doesn't matter how poor they are by their standards. It's been 30 years since they've put out rubbish football teams. maybe even longer. So, you know, you're not going to go there and get an easy night. If we get a point, it's a good result, as it is away from home anywhere in the Premier League.
Yeah,
a win would be out of this world. You know, and we're just seeing they're showing Declan Rice on the screen there. Rice and Souček tonight, that double pivot we've got in midfield will be absolutely crucial, because if we're going to get a goal going forward, you'd have to stick your money on it being Thomas Souček getting something from a set piece, and if you want to keep a clean sheet at our end, Declan Rice is going to have to shield that back four really, really well this evening. So, you know, Bruno Fernandes probably the real danger man in Manchester United's team. Recent weeks, he's been a bit below his absolute best, but for me, he'd still remain the player to watch from their team to make something happen for them.
Yeah, very much changed the game, didn't he, against West Ham earlier in the season when we tore them apart in the first half at the London Olympic Stadium. No, Mark Noble, as we said, back in the team tonight. Tactically, how do you see him fitting into that midfield with Souček and Rice already playing?
I think they're going to have to be very fluid between the three of them, because usually Souček is the one out of Rice and Souček who's more likely to be joining the attack.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got Noble playing in front of that, Noble will need to just drop back in and cover Souček if he goes on one of those forward runs. I've just been keeping an eye there on the pre-match interviews, and Fornals has a muscle strain.
Yeah.
I'm just hearing, which I wasn't aware of yesterday. So I think from the way Mr. Moyes was talking there, it looked a little bit like he was considering putting Noble in anyway, but the comment he made was that the decision was made easier by the fact that Fornals is injured. So yeah, I mean, it's because Noble's natural instincts are more of the defensive side of things, and Souček does that defensive role, but as I say, does like to join the attack quite a lot, and obviously damn good in the air.
Yeah.
And I hope for the sake of the goalpost, they put some padding around there, because it'll be the goalpost that comes off worse. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see exactly how it lines up, because it's not a natural venue for Noble, is it? Sort of being the midfielder just behind a striker. It's a little bit nosebleed territory. Yeah, still, at least we know we're going to take the penalties if we get one.
Well, there is that to it. There'll be no wrangling over who's going to be hitting the ball from 12 yards tonight with Nobes back in the side. But what a great opportunity this is for Mark Noble, of course, to potentially, of course, this could be his final game ever at Old Trafford. Well, he's sort of in that territory now, isn't he? Where whatever away ground we go to, he's potentially looking at that as if it could be his farewell. So, what an opportunity for Nobes to go up there and end his career on a bang with a win up at Old Trafford tonight. So hellos to Andy Welsh, to Polaroid, Aid Star, Zander, Hobo, and all you other guys joining us, Medellin, Richard Van, everyone joining us on the live stream. It's lovely to have you here. We very grateful that you've joined us this evening. If you don't normally post in the comments, just drop a little note in there and say hello. Let us know what you think of the show. Love it, like it, whatever. We don't care. Just let us know you're out there. If you enjoy what you're watching, down there somewhere, there's a little thumbs up button. If you just give that a little press for us, apparently it all does us the world of good if you do that. So a little thumbs up wouldn't go amiss if you could do that. Thank you. And of course, don't forget you can subscribe down there in the bottom of the screen somewhere to be notified whenever we go live in future. Rio, Jesse Lingard, Pablo Fornals, both out tonight. Who are we going to miss most?
For me, it'd be Fornals. Yes, it's because he's probably my favourite player at the moment. But yeah, I just thought the last couple of games he's been absolutely exceptional, and he provides that work rate that we probably might not get in terms like from other players. He's just got that little bit of everything. We know that Mark Noble's going to work hard, but he's lacking a little bit of pace nowadays, and it's against better class opposition. It's beginning to tell.
Yeah.
the last couple of games, he's been absolutely exceptional. He's worked hard, he's created chances, he's looking to threat going forward, but he also tracks back and works at that midfield so well that I think out of the two, it'd be him. Obviously, Jesse Lingard, we knew couldn't play in this fixture, so it's not really much of a disappointment that he's not showing tonight. Just going back to what Pinky said, I want to point out that Sheffield United are actually 34 points behind us. There's only 27 points left to play for them. I think Sean Bean is currently composing the stern end of the Times as we speak. And I expect a march on Parliament as soon as the COVID restrictions are lifted.
That Rio, that kind of begs the question: what is the lowest we can potentially finish now in the Premier League? Can we still be relegated? I think we can.
Yeah, we can still be relegated. But yeah. we're safe of Sheffield United and West Brom.
Okay.
I think 4 or 5 more points, and we're absolutely safe.
Okay.
Can we still be relegated though, given that it would require lots of teams all winning and playing themselves? They can't all win.
Well, this is West Ham United.
Right.
We know through long, painful experience, everything is possible.
Pinky, Rio believes that we're going to really miss Pablo Fornals' pace and effort this evening. I mean, that West Ham team has become almost reliant in a way, hasn't it, on the work rate of Mr. Fornals. A lot of it goes under the radar. We've said this time and time again. Doesn't score a load of goals, but the work rate is always exceptional. Never stops chasing. Mark Noble, his replacement, it's not going to be the same kind of thing, is it? You think we're really going to miss him out there this evening?
Yeah, we will, because the Moyes ethic, and Aaron Cresswell actually referred to it in a interview he gave to Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian earlier this week, where Cresswell actually quoted the line from what I call Moyes Mark 1: if you don't run, you don't play. And of course, at the time, he was talking about Arnautovic. Pablo Fornals is a player that never stops running. He is perpetual motion on the field. So, and that just sends a whole message in terms of enthusiasm, desire, everything you want from your players. So yeah, we'll miss that work rate tonight. But let's think about what Mark Noble can bring to this team this evening. He can bring a lot of experience. He can bring the ability to find a player like Mikel Antonio with a good, accurate, eye of the needle pass.
Yeah.
So we're not slotting in a pub player for Pablo Fornals. We're putting in a player that's done pretty much everything you possibly can for West Ham United, other than win a trophy. So he's a decent footballer. He'll give us something a bit different this evening. And the good news about playing the likes of Man United is they will at least let you play football.
Yeah.
They're not one of those teams that are what I call the anti-football brigade. So I don't think I'm particularly perturbed with what I'm going to look at tonight. Although interesting the way that Sky have just put it as lining up, which is very interesting. They've put Noble behind Rice and Souček somehow, which we'll see when we actually see the pitch now where he's actually going to play. But,
where's he playing? Centre half, according to Sky, or something? Then?
Well, almost in goal. He was that deep, according to Sky. But but we'll see when we actually see the live feed. But
yes,
but yeah, Fornals out is a big loss. But more than anything, the bench. The bench just doesn't have a game-changing option on it, really. You have to say Manny Lanzini, the fact that he can't get a game as a starting berth now, we're drifting towards the end of his West Ham United career, that I'm certain. Ben Rama, clearly the manager and him don't see eye to eye in terms of what's required for a fixture like this. But we'll see. And we're underway.
Good stuff. Old Trafford tonight, the venue for this evening's Premier League game between Manchester United and West Ham United. Just quickly looking at that bench, really, really inexperienced lineup for the Hammers there. You've got David Martin, one or a few appearances. Nathan Trott, one appearance. Fabian Balbuena. Alves, no appearances. Coventry, none in the Premier League. Lanzini, not a first-team player for 3 years. Ben Rama. the only real game changer, as Pinky's just referred to, and then Odobiko, again, no Premier League start. So it really is a Gnome. You're kind of looking at that and hoping that history doesn't repeat itself. And, we lose 4 or 5 players in this game because you really do think that Kevin Noble and Stuart Pearce might be getting a game by that point.
Yeah, that was carnage, that cup game. Was it 33 players used between the two teams or something?
Unbelievable.
I think we were all expecting a call. It's been a bright start. If we want to do we're playing in their half at the moment, which is good. It's right down in their corner, and that Man United are having difficulty in getting it out, and we're retaining the ball quite well. The time check for me anyway is Antonio's got in there and forced the corner. Good start from West Ham. Yep. Got a time check of 1 minute 29, 30, 1.5 minutes gone. Some good hard work there from Antonio to get down to the byline. Got the cross in, got it blocked out, corner of West Ham. On the West Ham left, the Man United right. So let's see how effective we can be with this one. Corner comes across, and that looked all carnage. There was Dawson's looking a little bit peeved at the challenge, but lots of players went up, lots of players came down. Nobody actually got anywhere near the ball. Let's have a look.
Is it just me? Is there a touch of the Alan Partridge look about Dawson? If he had to shave and combed his hair slightly differently, he could always be playing for Norwich, if you get my drift.
Yeah. Yes. Well. What? That's what's missing from football interviews post-match. Nobody's ever asked Dawson as to his views on the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre. Man United now, their first attack of the game, and ball's played wide out right to Greenwood, who's held up by Johnson. Man United probing a little bit at the moment, but West Ham sort of maintaining their shape, which it looks to be one of these fluid 3 turning to 5 at the back lineups. Now, ball in, and that's some good goalkeeping from Fabianski. Ball came in from the left, couple of half blocks. Just trying to see, I think it might have Rashford involved in there. Ball came in from the left. Rashford tried to get a shot in, half blocked by Dawson, and Fabianski pounces on the loose ball. So, not a bad start from both teams, really. Fairly open game at the moment.
3.5 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Rio, we were talking about Mark Noble and his position. Exactly where is he going to play tonight? What have you spotted so far in the opening 3 or 4 minutes?
He's sitting kind of predictably deepish. Looks like at the moment Souček's the first forward out of the midfield trio. Bowen's up in a little bit more support of Antonio. So, Mark's sitting in the deepest role, quarterback role, I think you'd like to call it himself.
Oh, what a tackle. What an absolute challenge there from Declan Rice. I mean, he's hurt himself, but my word, he went full tilt, won the ball. Fabulous stuff.
Yeah, superb tackle. You're a little bit worried because you never see him go down, and he's gone down, he's got up and gone down again. He's on his haunches at the moment. That's a great tackle. I mean, he tried to get up and his leg gave way beneath him after the tackle.
That's the biggest worry, isn't it? He got up straight away, but as soon as you put weight on it, that was it.
That is a worry. He's hobbling. He's actually on his feet and hobbling, and he's had no treatment, and he's running it off. So, some good work there from Antonio. Wins the ball back. Now Antonio gets into the box, plays a score, nearly squares it back, but for Bowen in the box, but it's cut out, and Man United bring the ball away down the wing.
What are we thinking about that, Pinky? It looks like his ankle, I think, or his Achilles perhaps took a knock there?
It'd be his ankle more than anything, but I mean, he's sprinting around fine. It takes more than that to put down Declan Rice. It's even hopping around on one leg, he'd still be the best midfielder out there this evening. So I'm not too perturbed about that. It was a full-blooded get in there challenge, though. I mean, absolutely. If that had been at a home game, the support would have been absolutely on their feet, giving it the big one over that. Great stuff.
Yeah, just what you need, generally
Just
speaking.
a worry
isn't it?
when you see him go down, because I'm scratching my head here trying to think. I can't remember him ever going down under a challenge and looking injured. So when you see him sort of,
What are you thinking? A betting scam? Sort of like go down in the 4th minute, Declan, and someone in China wins £1 billion. Is that what you're thinking? Or?
it's not one of the specialist bets I've ever seen on bookies, but there again, you probably have more experience of those than I do. So.
Yeah, there's that link between Rice and China once again emerging. Some hellos
Oh.
to David. David O'Rourke, John Harrington, how you doing, guys? Nice to see you on the stream. Liam Carty, interesting comment from you about Mark Noble. I'm presuming you're not a West Ham fan, but that's all right. We don't mind. You're welcome to join us on the stream here and
Education for
the
us.
game, but don't be too disappointed if we laugh when West Ham score, if you're a Man U fan. Anyway, we are just over 6.5 minutes into the game. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Neither team with a shot on goal yet. West Ham, no, looking pretty decent. I mean, we spoke there about that Rice challenge. There was one a few moments later that we didn't really get an opportunity to mention from Michail Antonio just outside the box.
Yeah.
Very similar sort of challenge, but West Ham are having a go tonight, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, Man United home side, as you expect, retaining possession a fair bit, but this is the way that we have been known to play. And again, the whole move breaks down, picked off there, and we go forward. So, it's only 7 minutes gone, long way to go yet. But as we force a throw in on halfway line, but yeah, long way to go yet. But we're looking all right. We're not looking. It's not one where you're thinking, blimey, this is going to be a long evening. Well, unless you're watching us, of course. But it's looking all right.
Yeah, Pinky, I can kind of almost see the steam coming out of your ears there. As it was a great challenge from Mr. Diop, but then he went on another one of those lung-bursting runs, not through the middle this time, but up the right side of the pitch. Fortunately, on this occasion, he only made the halfway line before getting his bearings and turning back towards goal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very clear. Central defenders need a rope attached to them that you tie to the goalpost. That you cannot physically go beyond the halfway line unless it's a corner kick. Okay, it gets a bit more elastic at that point. I mean, I'm firmly in the camp that says your job's to stand there, head the ball out. Yeah, and just don't do anything fancy. Because I don't think he's quite good enough. Happy to be proven wrong, but all the comments on the forum are he's only young, give him time, and all the rest of it. Yeah, the Premier League is such an unforgiving environment. Your average manager gets less than 100 games. So why do you want to give a player 5 seasons to grow into the player you hope he'll become? You need oven ready in this league, and Diop isn't it for me.
Far Eastender posting on the KUMB.com Twitter channel says it's not a great bench tonight, but neither is theirs. I'm looking forward to Martin in a Les Sealy attacking role. Remember that one, Rio? Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, Arsenal way. Brilliant performance. Terrorised the back four of Arsenal that night. And let's hope we never see that again. There's an absolute plethora of absolute misery when the team was announced on the forum.
Yeah,
quite understandable in some respects, but amidst all that, there was one bright shining light. Bubbles 1966 put it's the same setup as the second half of the FA Cup game, and we were by far the better team in that part of the game. Plus, we also have Antonio up top. So, amongst all the misery, all the worry, all the consternation, Bubbles points out, rightly so, that maybe things are on our side. Maybe we might get something out of this. And we'd be certainly better than for the opening 6 minutes. I mean, I would have called you off by now. Sort of point.
It's a good point. It's a great observation by Bubbles. We were very much the better team, weren't we, on that night? Very unfortunate to go down the end of the game, narrowly by that extra time goal. Scott McTominay, wasn't it? I believe in the 97th minute, if I remember rightly. But we've escaped the first 10 minutes. It's 0-0 so far. We are keeping an eye on two forums. We're keeping an eye on tonight, of course, the KUMB.com forum match thread for West Ham fans, and Pinky is keeping an eye on the opposition thread tonight on Red Cafe, I believe, Pinky, tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're as critical of their team as some of our supporters of ours, so to speak. You know, by Manchester United standards, it is bare bones as well, you know, which you think, look at one or two of the players they've got out there, and you think, yeah, Marcus Rashford, bare bones. Bruno Fernandes, bare bones. Yeah, even in goal, Henderson, you know, would get in almost every other team in the top flight these days. So their bare bones and ours aren't quite the same, but you know, by their standards, it's pretty weak, and there's pretty weak. There's not a lot of confidence from Red Cafe. A few anti-Glazer comments I think there's been on there this evening. Not too many getting stuck into Solskjaer, although there's one or two posts concerning that he's running Marcus Rashford into the ground. But what's a manager to do? He's got to play the best team he's got available. And, you know, all I say to those Manchester United fans as well, you know, phone up your owners and say, buy us a new striker, because somehow Edison Cavani, who I think is the best striker at Manchester United, he's out injured at the minute, and I think he's lost a bit of interest in playing for them currently. Dare I say it, David Sullivan, I know you like to watch this show from time to time. Get on to Cavani's agent and see if you can work the magic. I'd love him for a season at our place.
Yeah, rumours that he's going to be leaving Manchester United this summer. We shall see in due course. Gnome, Declan Rice took a bit of a knock about 7 or 8 minutes ago. How's he looking right now?
Yeah, looking fine. Another couple of little interceptions. Now, Antonio's got the ball out left, and he's running at the Man United defence, and we'll stick with this for a second. Oh, nearly. Just not quite enough on the ball there to feed. I think it was Souček had come to the edge of the box, and Manchester United can break. Diop just about holds up the attack, and in fact wins the ball. So did all right in the end. It didn't look a pretty challenge. Yeah, it wasn't a foul or anything, but it was ungainly. But he won the ball. So we
did very well.
Yeah, did the job, didn't it? It was but so just talking about the team selection, and as say Rio said, there was a bit of dismay and all that. But you know, you look at the bench, you look at the fact that Fornals was an injury. I mean, yeah, if Fornals had been available and Noble had been picked ahead of him, then I can understand a bit more of people being less than gruntled, shall we say. But that's basically that first 11 we got is the first 11 we've got available, isn't it, really? You could argue a toss between perhaps Bowen and Benrahma, Bowen and Benrahma maybe, but that's the first 11. That's what we've got. So, you know, no point in moaning about that. It's not a bad team as we've seen. So
no, very good point. Very good point. A couple of little shouts just while we're talking there. Ben Johnson, very good interception a few moments ago to win the ball on the left and set Antonio off down the left flank, the chance that Gnome was referring to. And then nice challenge again. Issa Diop stepping in almost Ogbonna-esque to nip the ball off an opponent and ensure that Manchester United kept at bay as they have been so far. Neither goalkeeper worked at all yet, not a single shot so far. Just want to go back quickly to Jared Bowen, Rio. You know, he's had a few doubters, hasn't he, in recent weeks and months? It sort of started with the Storm. We all thought it was fantastic when he moved from Hull, but I don't know if he's perhaps a little bit tired, having played so frequently this season, but, not sort of been really reaching the same heights, is he, as he had done in the first few months of his stay here.
No, not at all. But there was that rumour that he had a bit of a mystery illness. No details ever came out about it, but over the Christmas period, he was left out a couple of times at the starting 11. We all thought it's just a sheer number of games over the festive period. Yeah. But Moyes said he had an illness. Nothing's come of it. Maybe he's just finding his feet after that. You know, we don't know what it was, but it's obviously not to stuff him out of him a little bit. So hopefully tonight we'll see him back in the starting lineup, gets one of the bigger sides. We know he can put a shift in. We know he's got a lot of ability. His decision making needs a little bit of sharpening up, but no, he's a valuable asset to the squad. And let's hope he puts a shift in tonight and that does the job.
Yeah, interesting. There's almost the exact moment that you said he's finding his feet. He was sent back.
They were trodden on.
by a late tackle from Fred, I think it was. But yeah, he's a real asset and has been fantastic, hasn't he, since stepping up from Hull. Pinky, you a fan of Bowen's?
Yeah. You know, he grafts. He can get a goal on occasion. He can provide an assist, and you know, where Fred just clipped him the instant you're talking about there.
Yeah,
that was a yellow card for Fred all day long because he knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah,
we were breaking, and they had too many players the wrong side of the ball, and he just put in that or I'm really sorry, ref, late challenge, which completely disrupts the flow of the game. And you know, that is a classic big team snidey foul.
Yeah. It's Liverpool tactic number one, isn't it?
On the
Liverpool tactic number one, that one.
Yeah,
going back many a year.
Absolutely.
Now, Bowen's got Henderson comes outside the box to clear, but Bowen's looking in, but the ball's still in, and it wasn't a great ball to Antonio. Did well to actually keep it in our possession. Antonio's looked fairly lively tonight. He's on the ball again now.
He's looked superb tonight. We were saying start of the season he was Drogba-esque in one or two games. Tonight he has looked very powerful, very strong, holding the ball up superbly, bringing others into play superbly tonight.
They're knowing they're in a game back there, aren't they?
Yeah, we're absolutely sure.
Very powerful, very strong, and channeling Alex Song as well. I think you could possibly say with his the way he's wearing his shorts there tonight. Although right now he seems to have gotten pulled down a bit, but he seems to have taken this up a bit, Gnome, doesn't he, lately, Michail Antonio? Almost as if to say, look at the size of my thighs.
Oh, hang on.
Hasn't pulled right up.
Oh, well, sorry. Cross came in from the left there, which through a deflection. Henderson came out and managed to get a sort of, palm sort of punch away, but wasn't looking very convincing. But Manchester United are clearing it now. But again, they're losing the ball. Nice interception from Noble, anticipated the pass. I think the game stopped because when, Bowen's down in the penalty box. When Henderson came out, there were about 3 or 4 players. Let's have a look at it now. As Cresswell puts the ball in, I think it would have been an offside had anything happened. It's flicked up. Henderson's come out, and was Henderson and Maguire, I think, collide with Bowen. I think it might be more an awkward landing from that. No foul or anything, but it's just one of those ones he seems to have landed awkwardly, and play stopped while that's being dealt with. Henderson had more trouble from his own defender there, I think. Bowen's getting treatment as we speak. Anyway, it's not looking that serious, but
it's an interesting one, no, because it doesn't look like it's his landing foot. I think it's the other foot, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Clutching, yeah.
Oh, is that the one that Fred started in the challenge?
Dare I say it, Mark Noble looks like he's spinning a bit on top. You know, he's probably going to head into football retirement at the nick of time. You know, because I think, players that haven't got quite, you've got to go one or the other, haven't you? You've either got to have no hair or all of it. The halfway house is never a good look.
Yeah, the days of whatever happened to balding footballers. I mean, once upon a time, the game was awash with your Bobby Charltons and Ralph Coates and
yeah.
They're all gone. Don't see them anymore. The sweeper, Bobby Charlton, of course.
Wales is Terry Hennessy, Pop, of course. Did we say Pop? Pop was bald when he was about 12, wasn't he? I think it was certainly premature baldness with Pop.
Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. One of West Ham's most famous balding player, no doubt, Pop Robson. But by God, he was a superb footballer and knew where the goal
Brilliant
was.
footballer, yeah.
Who was
20
the Palace lad? That foreign player.
Lombardo.
That's it, Lombardo. Yeah.
Yeah, he was the last of them, wasn't he? Him and David Armstrong of Southampton.
That's right.
Ever since then, I put down the better diet and the modern sports science. You know, there's something in that.
The pasta, is it? It's pasta for the pre-match meal that's done it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I know you're watching down on the ring road, Fat Tony. Eat more pasta, and you might keep some hair. There you go.
Always good to get a shout in for Fat Tony on the stream. Going back to something we were discussing earlier, Rob Young says that Craig Dawson looks more like a young Pete Townsend than Alan Partridge. Fair shout, I think. Fair shout. Yeah, and also on a musical bent, Andy Welsh says Gnome. Spock's beard were better with Neil Morse.
Yeah, agree with that.
Me, but you'll know what that means.
Yeah, agree with that. Yeah, still not bad though. But yeah, Neil Morse found God a bit, shall we say? So, but still doing stuff. But yeah, American prog.
The John Monker of Spock's beard, I suppose you could label him. Manchester United have a corner anyway.
Yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, corner cross. Maguire goes up. It's lots of head tennis being played there. Souček's clearing, and it's now outside. Bowen couldn't quite get a foot in to get the breakaway. That's a superb header, I think, from Cresswell there. Dangerous looking cross coming in. Yeah, came from a corner. Souček did well to put the ball out for a corner as Man United were looking dangerous. Yeah, it wasn't entirely convincingly cleared, but it was good defending in the end. Ball's on the halfway line now, so there's no immediate panic.
We are at the midway point of the first half. Some match stats for you so far. Possession, Manchester United 56% to West Ham's 44%. Shots, Manchester United 1 shot off target. West Ham United no shots, also off target, 1 corner each. Manchester United having committed 1 foul, that being the one presumably on Jarrod Bowen, which some of the team here felt really warranted a yellow card. But Rio, it's all very dull, isn't it, so far? West Ham doing a fairly decent job so far of nullifying the host tonight. Yeah,
just as we say, that Man United on the attack, scuff shot. No, we defended very well so far. I've been quite impressed by Ben Johnson's adapted. He's made a couple of tiny interceptions. Man United are playing a really high press against us when we have the ball at the back, and but we're trying to we're exploiting a little bit of space when they're making quite a few errors themselves in midfield, which you wouldn't expect of the likes of Fernandes. And we're exploiting it quite well. I've been quietly impressed, to be honest. We've worked hard, defended well, and when we do get on the break, we cause a little bit of a couple of questions. Nothing clear cut, but we cause a few problems, and I'm very impressed and quite positive with the start here.
Yeah, just watching Antonio there, he played the ball, he sold Declan Rice down the river with a ball that was far too short. And I'll break off there as Man United go on the attack. Ball out on the right with, I think it's Greenwood. Cross comes in. Oh, I think that's the cleanest chance so far. Rashford has headed wide. He got in between 2 defenders there. Ball was thrown to Johnson, who lost out. Watching the cross now. Yeah, not. Your mate Diop didn't get nearly close enough, but the header was awful. Sort of screwed the header wide. It's almost as if he thought the goal was another 3 yards to that side, sort of thing. Yeah, not a good header. Not great from West Ham. Bit of a wake-up call, really, there. I was saying before that happened that Antonio had sold. No. Now, what's happening here? Every time I go to say something appears to be happening. We've got I think it might be Maguire down on the floor, sort of in a almost fetal position. Yeah, it's Maguire.
Yeah, it was a challenge with Antonio, wasn't it? I think. Quite
yeah.
sure what happened.
Let's have a look, see what this is. Yeah, he's headed the back of Antonio's head as he's cleared that, hasn't he? He's headed the ball, followed through at the back of Antonio's head. So
that should be Maguire then. You know, trying to assault Antonio with a headbutt. I mean, you know,
when he was headbutt Antonio's got to be a bit stupid, hasn't
You got to say that Maguire's got a Sweden half, hasn't he? And for Michael to be still on his feet, looking really fresh and dapper about it, well, the big fridge-headed Maguire is struggling on the floor. How strong is Mikel, eh? How strong is he?
Fridge-headed, love it, love it.
Oh, he's in all sorts of bother here, Maguire. You know.
Is this a concussion?
On a general point, though, this evening, again, and it's several matches in a row now, all the opposition attacks, by and large, are coming down Soufal's flank. It's all coming down that side, and we're seeing it week after week. So opposition coaches have seen something in our defensive work that I think that's the area to exploit. And, you know, you just see it week after week. They are pouring down that flank in the same way that actually we're pouring down, you know, the diagonally opposite flank ourselves. So we're pouring down the left side. Antonio is consistently pulling off to the left side and exploiting some space there. But yeah, Maguire's in all sorts of bother there. You know, who have they got on the bench if he has to be subbed?
Well, he's coming back on. I think they've taken him across to the touchline, and he's now sort of the game's restarted, and he's been waved back on. So clearly not that serious, as I say, just probably shook him up a little bit. But we restart West Ham in possession.
Begs a question, though, doesn't it? So, you know, the so-called concussion rule subs. Once your bench starts getting wafer thin, are clubs going to be consistent on concussion substitutions? And you know, who decides that a player is concussed and has to be subbed? And is it the manager who's saying, well, actually, I don't have a better option, therefore you've got to soldier on, son? Or is it an independent doctor who's saying you can't continue, therefore you can have another sub come on?
The protocol is, Pinky, that obviously the medical team run on when there's a head injury, and they make an assessment as to whether or not it's a potential concussion. It doesn't have to be one. And if they've got any concerns whatsoever, they call that shot. They say, this is we think it's a potential concussion. And then it's up to whether or not you use it as a concussion sub or just an ordinary sub is, I think, up to you, because I'll break off here. Man United on the attack from the left-hand side. Noble puts it out for a corner. You basically, when you hand in the paperwork to the fourth official, you've got two different colour forms. One's for concussion subs and the other one's for ordinary subs. If you put in the ordinary sub form, it means your opponents don't get an extra sub to compensate. So it's all a bit complicated. Anyway, corner at Man United on their left. And it's swung out, but that doesn't get very far. And Soufal heads it forward, but that's just going to run out. It's kept in.
Well, what I was really getting at there, though, Gordon, is, you know, who, you know, it's almost like, you know, if the doctor is from, you know, under the direction of the manager of the club that doesn't have a better option on the bench, how independent and how medically based is the assessment made? And I'm thinking we're drifting into Eva Canaro territory there for Chelsea and Mourinho, whereby I think in other sports, rugby in particular, they have an independent doctor assess concussion. And
I think in this case, I think the club's medical staff are trusted to sort of obey any Hippocratic oath, or as Man United are on attack now, that's
in much the same way as cycling does. I think, I can understand that.
No, it's basically if you're a physio, you go on a player's got a head injury, I think the authorities trust you to be honest and say that's going to, that's a potential concussion. I want that player off. The manager would have little or no say in that at all. Because I mean, I'm not saying it won't happen elsewhere in football. The other thing might happen where you might want another sub on. You've used up all your subs, and suddenly a player gets an attack of the vapours clutching his head. You can suddenly bring another one on. So it's open to abuse. Yeah, but another corner to Man United. We can rack them up here. Shot from outside the box, flick wide. Again, it's an outswinger. Again, it's Diop heads out, and West Ham force Man United back to the halfway line, although they've still got position coming forward. So, they're building up a number of corners. So the last one there was a bit of a hopeful shot that deflected wide. It was about a 30-yard shot, and that's kept in. Long ball that didn't look like it was going to be kept in, but was. But they didn't make the most of it, and West Ham now bringing it forward, but Antonio's caught offside.
There was a moment there that made me chuckle. Inside, Wan-Bissaka had the ball in the centre of the field, and Mark Noble looked to go to win the ball, and then I think he realised he was 33 and not 23, and decided that he'd be better off just actually sitting in rather than lunging and picking up one of those yellows, potentially red cards. But as you say, no, Manchester United just beginning to exert a little bit of pressure. Interestingly, someone has spotted that Harry Maguire just yelled out to his teammates to liven up and stop giving the ball away on TV. Apparently there was an expletive in there as well. Not quite sure what one it was, not that it really matters, but obviously a little bit of frustration, Rio, coming from Manchester United at their inability to break West Ham down so far.
Yeah, well, most of their chances have been like speculative long-range efforts.
Yeah, again.
And from the result in corners, where Mikel Antonio has come back to defend, where we've cleared the ball, it's going straight back to a Man United player, and they're putting the ball back in and putting us under pressure.
Well, here's a break now.
Victims of our own demise, really. But
yeah,
as I said, we're on the attack. Bowen feeds Rice, who loses it, unfortunately. Yeah, we was victim of our own kind of a deep defensive option. We just couldn't get the ball back, and as soon as Manchester United regained the ball, they was firing it back in against us. Soufel's just defended quite well there, blocking the attack, but Manu forced it out wide again. Into McTominay. They're playing the ball around the edge of our box. Fred puts out wide and trying to get in behind us again, and he's done it. Puts it again into the 6-yard box, but again we clear. There's a couple of opportunities there. They've done it twice now. Once where Declan got caught on the left-hand side, and then Soufal this time. So that's something we've got to really be on our mettle against.
Yeah. Is the Binky, the Mark Noble playing in the centre there. Thomas Souček seems to be a little bit out of sorts so far today. Him and Declan Rice not, exerting the same sort of pressure that they might normally do if there was just the two of them there. Do you think that's causing problems for West Ham? That extra body in the centre.
Possibly. Our shape isn't particularly great tonight, and to be fair, Manchester United's movement in the final third is excellent. They're doing really well, and they're dragging us all over the shop this evening. So, I think Rice is going to have his work absolutely cut out this evening.
Well, we've got the first yellow of the evening. Good work from Antonio holding the ball up. Played it back to Johnson, played it down the line. Antonio completely left Wan-Bissaka for dead. Wan-Bissaka just totally cleared him out. Free kicks West Ham. Wan-Bissaka's in the book. It's good. We can get Antonio onto this ball a lot more. We've only got half an hour gone and Wan-Bissaka's in the book. They've not got an answer to him. Good free kick played down. Declan Rice does well to get to the byline and cross the ball in, but the cross isn't great. And it's blocked, and Man United bring it away, and we've got to get back now.
35 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, West Ham United nil. There's not been an awful lot of goal-mouth action so far. In fact, none in front of the Manchester United goal. West Ham still looking for their first effort at goal in the match. But encouraging signs nonetheless from West Ham, both ends, managing to keep Manchester United largely at bay so far. There are 5 shots Manchester United have created so far, yet to have one on target though. So, 10 minutes to go till half-time. Gnome and the Hammers, doing okay, but it's beginning to look like another one of those performances away from home against the top 6 where, shots are at a real premium and, you're only looking at 1 or 2 efforts on goal in the whole game.
Yeah, we just saw a bit of vintage Mark Noble, and not in a good way there. His first touch kind of let him down and he had to be very quick to get a foot in to push the ball out to Soufal. So now Greenwood's on the attack, gets to the edge of the box, and what a save! That's some good football all round. Greenwood running at West Ham defence, cut inside a bit to the left, and cut inside Dawson there. Curled a shot around Fabianski down to his right hand side, just got a fingertip on it, flicked it on, hit the post on the way out, corner to Man United, but great goalkeeping for Fabianski.
Yes, the best chance of the night, and Fabianski more than a match for it. It's a corner, however, to Manchester United. No.
Yep, corner from Man United left, and yet again it's an outswinger, but yet again it's blocked by the first man this time, and throw into Man United. Not a good corner, that one. But yeah, fine goalkeeping from Fabianski there. Yeah, whereas in the first sort of 15, 20 minutes, when we were picking the ball off, we were going on the break, and the breaks looked, we haven't got any chances as such, but the breaks looked capable of providing stuff. But we're not holding on to the ball on the break at the moment, anywhere near well enough. And which is, of course, Man United just keep coming back at us.
Yeah.
So earlier on, you said, I think it was 56% Man United possession. I'm willing to guess that it's a little bit higher than that now.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that actually, 63-37 in Manchester United's favour, so definitely tipping the scales in their balance in the last few minutes. It's one of those, I think, Rio, where you're sort of we're beginning to look for the half-time whistle now, and just hope that the Hammers can get in there still on level terms, and Moyes can readdress what's going on and have a word with his team.
Yeah, bright opening, but they're exerting themselves now. Manchester United, we're very much under the cost. We're sitting deeper and deeper, invite them on even further. Still a bit worrying. We can't keep playing this way at times, Teams with the quality of Manchester United and the pace of Manchester United are eventually going to find efforts. As I say that, it was Greenwood pulled away from Dawson at the far end side, but again, it's a poor header. It's the lack of quality in their Manchester United's finishing at the moment. It's really kept us in the game. Defend as well as we can, but we're still allowing the odd chance slipping through. Yeah. And we can't keep this up for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good save from Fabianski, but no comfortably offside. Sorry, Pinky.
I wouldn't say comfortably, but with VAR, there was enough there to that would have been, when you get the grid lines out, it was half a leg. As Soufal gets climbed all, referee, what are you doing with that? Soufal getting climbed all over, and then I think that's Fred decides to throw himself back, clutching his face. You should be embarrassed there, mate. Ball was played into the box, but nobody got on the end of it, and goal kick to Man United. So just trying to see what's happening there. Good throw, actually, but Bowen's got his. I didn't see what had happened to that because the camera angle wasn't there, but it was a good run from Bowen, but he just failed to keep the ball in, and just went out for a goal kick. Had he actually got on the end of that ball, we were in a good position there.
Pinky, some pretty shocking play acting from Fred there.
Never mind all that. I'm still calling out Rio for putting a bit of Barry White in my head when he said deeper and deeper, and instantly I'm thinking, which Barry White song is that from? Yeah. you know, and I'm going to love your baby just a little bit more, obviously, yeah. But you can't be doing that, Rio. You can't be doing that. We've got a game on here. You cannot.
It's
have me
completely
going to
subliminal. Barry White is not my forte, so that was completely off the cuff, unknown.
You've got an inner bit of Barry White in you that not even you know about, Rio. That's what it is. We've all got a bit of Barry White in us. So
that's why it looks like he's sitting uncomfortably.
I'm due to go to the hospital about that in a couple of weeks' time, to be honest.
Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. 40 minutes gone, half time, just about 5 minutes away. It's been pretty quiet from West Ham so far. Obviously, a much depleted West Ham team. Michael Antonio just going down there, Gnome, after feeding a challenge. Again, another West Ham players, Bowen, Rice, and
I think just
Antonio
took a late, just a late one, slightly after the ball. He's up and running now. I don't think it was anything too serious. I think he was hoping that the contact would be enough to get him a free kick. It wasn't. So he stayed down for a second or two to make it look not embarrassing, got up and he's running away now. So Man United on attack again on our left-hand side, but again they're being held up. That's not good control, and Soufal nicks that nicely. And Bowen brings the ball away. Now he's looking for help here. Not getting any, and he's it's going to go all the way back to Diop. But so that when we get that sort of opportunity to break away, it would be good to see. Oh, now what happened there? It would be good to see people with a slightly more attack mindset on there, because Bowen got so far, was looking for help, didn't get any, and had to go back. I'll say what happened there. Look, Antonio tried a clever flick over Maguire, but it just went into the player, and Maguire pulled it away. If that had come off, Antonio was clean through. So, there's fine margins, as they keep saying on telly.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a moment ago about West Ham's lack of options on the bench, but Manchester United also haven't got an awful lot of options. I mean, they're only attacking alternatives. We're talking about Ben Rama, and really being West Ham's only player capable of changing the game, who is on the bench. But man, you're also lacking a bit. Ahmad and Shoretare, or Shortai, or Shortere, however you pronounce it, we're not quite sure yet. Shorty. Get Shorty. So both teams really lacking a bit here. So I wouldn't expect to see a flurry of substitutions, I guess, anyway, at half time or in the second half.
What I was talking about there about the attacking options, we had a good break on, but Souček ended up having to sort of run on a very shallow diagonal angle till Bowen got up with play, and we got into a good position, but the cross wasn't good enough. And but we're in a good position now. Bowen again gets a cross in, but he's just hit Souček on the back of the head, Soufal rather, on the back of the head, and gone out for a goal kick. Soufal does not look impressed, holding his ear where it hit him.
Someone else who doesn't look particularly impressed at the moment is David Moyes. I'm watching a different stream to you guys.
What I was just saying about where we got in a decent attacking break on, and we didn't get up to support the players on the break nearly quick enough. And by the time Souček had got into a position where he could find Bowen running ahead of him on the right, there were 7 or 8 Man United players had got behind the ball. So I think that's probably what annoyed him. It annoyed me.
Yeah, well, whatever it was, there was a rather large chap, shall we say, sitting on the bench behind Moyes is with a Manchester United coat, and we found it all most amusing anyway, so I'm not quite sure what was going on there. But anyway, we're a minute or so away from half-time. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. I'm trying to be kind, Brie. I'm trying to think of something positive to say about this first half, but it's not been a brilliant spectacle so far, has it?
No, I mean, once we hold out, hopefully, for the end of this first half, I've got a couple of positive things to bring up. But at the moment, it's looking a bit worrying, is it? We're just conceding possession time and time again. They're coming at us. We just can't break forward. Mikel Antonio's playing about 30 yards in his own half. He's the furthest he's got for the last 5 or 6 minutes. It's not sustainable. We need to get a foot on the ball eke out some chances and advance down their pitch a bit further, just to release the pressure on the defence.
Yeah. Well,
We've
I mean,
got
the
2
good
minutes
thing
of
is
stoppage to come.
+2.
Yeah, +2. Yeah.
Thank you. The good thing is, if we are struggling for things to talk about during the half-time break, given the lack of excitement and goal-scoring opportunities in the first half, Dan Robinson says, "Could Pinky give us a rendition of the first, my last, my everything? A bit of a Barry White classic there, Pinky. Do you know the words?"
I think it could. I think it could. Yeah. You know, it's been known. I mean, driving to West Ham in years gone by, myself and the aforementioned Fat Tony would be giving it the full Barry White. So you might get lucky, but really the player that's caught my eye this evening most of all, and it's good news for England rather than West Ham. Luke Shaw, I think, has been the player that's made the difference this evening. I think he's been absolutely outstanding for Manchester United, and dare I say it, and it goes against the Corinthian spirit and all the sporting stuff, I might be saying to one of our players, the full reducer on Luke Shaw, as soon as you can, please, lads, because he's murdering us down that flank. He's finding space time and time again, and he's looked world class this evening. The absolute difference between the teams. He's the player in the opposition I'll give an absolute clattering to and say, just go and recover in your own half for 10 minutes, son.
It's been playing really well, hasn't he, lately? Actually, Pinky, he's really hitting, his best form.
He's got a long journey back from injury and what have you. You know, he went to Man United on big money. Was it from Southampton? He joined them from?
Yeah,
many years ago, and he's kind of struggled there for a few seasons, but he's played very well from tonight. And there's the half-time break.
Half-time at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Stats-wise, Manchester United 65% possession to West Ham's 35. Manchester United, according to the BBC, created 8 shots at goal, 2 on target. It seems rather generous. It's obviously true. Not sure why they make it up. West Ham, a big fat 0 in the shots column so far. Corners, Manchester United 4 to West Ham United's 1. Fouls, Manchester United committing 2. West Ham United just the 1. No, that kind of says it all in a way, doesn't it? The foul tally. There's only been 3 fouls in the entire first half. We did have a booking. Wan-Bissaka booked for that lunge on Michail Antonio, taking one for the team, I think you'd say. But it's sort of been a bit like that. Both sides really off the boil so far.
Yeah, Manchester United obviously lion's share for possession. There's a couple of times they've got the ball in from wide positions and Fabianski's come and smothered. I don't know how many of those count as efforts on target or whatever. 8, and maybe right. I'm struggling to think of 8, but the best one, of course, was the one with Fabianski tipping the ball onto the post, and that came from one of the only times that we really got run at in a central position, and Greenwood took advantage of that. Good shot, good save, but that's been by far and away the sort of standout moment of the game so far. Talking about the fouls there, the 2, one of which was the Wan-Bissaka clearing out of Antonio.
Yeah.
Before that point, early on in the game, right from a very early point in the game, it was clear that when Antonio was playing out wide and running down the wide channels, that Wan-Bissaka was going to have problems with him, and that is an area that I'd like to see us trying to exploit on the break a lot more. First 15-20 minutes we held the ball well when bringing it out, but that seems to have gone the last sort of 20 minutes of the half, the second half of the half, if you like, where it's coming back a lot more, and because of that we're defending deeper. So but 0-0, not looking overwhelmed at the moment, and something to build on. But I could see why Moyes might have been looking annoyed at that, because when we have got the breaks, we really need to be making the most of them and making the most of them quickly.
Yes, we certainly do. It's been a strange game so far, in the sense that we're all kind of used to, I think, here to seeing West Ham start pretty poorly and then pick up as the game goes on. In a sense, we've seen the reverse of that, haven't we, so far? We started quite brightly. The first 5 minutes, Manchester United could barely get their foot on the ball. We looked lively, got a few balls into the box, no shots, but we sort of slipped away, and it's got worse and worse as the halves progressed. Yeah,
it's not been easy on the eye, let's put it that way. As you say, the first 3 or 4 minutes, we was very bright. We pinned them in their half, their final third, indeed. But we seem to regress by the minute. We've gone further and further back, defended deeper and deeper. Their high press was causing us a little bit of problems. So they've resorted to long range efforts and forcing a couple of corners. But I think it's indicative that Mikel Antonio, for the most part, has been playing 30 yards in front of his own goal for most of the game. And we just can't escape. We just can't escape that our own half and get into areas where we need to, where we can actually have a bit of a breather and relax our defence a little bit. We're constantly under the cosh. And it's just the lack of quality from Manchester United, which is thankful, really, that they haven't really shown any kind of real moments of magic that it's 0-0. You wanted some bright points for the first half. Obviously, the first 3 minutes was majestic. You know, you're not going to get better than that for a long, long time. And who doesn't like to see Harry Maguire get a knock to the head? You know, it looks like my wife said, "Like, has he broken his nose to me?" And I just thought, no, he always looks like that. You know, I'm not a fan of him. He has got a head like a fridge. Mikel Antonio come away for it, not a scratch on him. But poor Harry was on the ground there, and I thought he looked very dazed, very confused. Then he remembered, oh yeah, I'm a Manchester United player. Got up and someone had recharged the head, and yeah, he looks fine now, doesn't he?
My favourite comment that of the first half, the reference to the fridge-headed Maguire from Rio there. Pinky, you said at the top of the show you'd gladly take a point from this evening. Do you still feel that way? And, you know, I guess we'd like to do it a little bit more glamorously than perhaps we have done so far, if we were to do that. But a point's a point, right?
A point is very much a point, and given the way the results have gone the rest of the weekend, you would take a point here all day long and twice on Sunday, and you know we're getting a bit of a battering. I mean, let's not mince our words here. We can't get out. I mean, if you look at the three that are nominally behind Antonio in Johnson, Noble, and Bowen, they have absolutely pegged Bowen back by their positioning of Luke Shaw, where Luke Shaw's playing. And he's exploiting that space between Bowen and Soufal wonderfully. And consequently, Bowen can't get forward at all. So we've got no outball down that flank. The inexperienced Johnson on the other side isn't making much headway. And Noble just lacks the engine these days to get up and down the pitch to make a difference in normally the middle of the three. So we've got essentially, other than a hoof upfield to Antonio, no outball. But if we hoof it, he's got no support. And they're picking him off. So, you know, we're in all sorts of bother here this evening. And if we could hang on for a point, and let's not muck around, we are hanging on. Yeah. It would be great. But the reality is, at Old Trafford, you just know if attacking the Stretford end, they'll be playing the tapes of attack, and all those chants and all the rest of it. We need to do something different here because Man United will score. No question, they're getting a goal. It's coming. It is absolutely coming.
Gnome, Xander, writing on the live chat on YouTube on KUMBTV, says that it's almost Mourinho-esque tactics from David Moyes here tonight. So we're showing Manchester United too much respect. Do you think that's fair, or do you think this is pretty much all that you can expect from West Ham, given the limited options Moyes had at his disposal at the start of the game?
Yeah, I think the way we're playing is mainly a function of the players we got available to us. Noble is not an attacking player. so you wouldn't expect you've got an extra player in there sort of to bolster it. So yeah, you're going to be playing deep. I think we do need to make more of possession when we have it, but I don't think it's it's a tactic as such. It's we're just playing the way that the players the players we've got will play that way. It's as simple as that, really. I've just been given a stat here, and it's a game that's etched in horror in my head, but it's the first game that we've failed to have a shot in the first half of a Premier League match since November 2019 v Burnley, which, if I recall correctly, was the freezing cold day up at Turf Moor, where Pinky and I shared a couple of pints outside the cricket ground, when a cup of soup might have been more apposite. And the Roberto's, and I used the word finest quite wrongly, finest hour. We went 3-0 down, and even my ex sent me a message the next day. She said, "I've watched Match of the Day for the first time ever." She said, "You're right, he did throw the ball in the net."
Good day out, Pinky.
Always is at Burnley. The peppered steak pies are probably the pick of the pies on the circuit at the minute. So yeah, Burnley's always a decent day out, and I like the fact it's an old football ground in an old-fashioned town and all the rest of it. I mean, it is grim up there, and the Northern Wastelands, and another quick shout out to Nick, who will be watching from the Northern Wastelands of Wigan. Obviously, there'll be no work tomorrow in Wigan, so he'll stay up late all night watching this. But because that's what it's like in the north of England. But no, I mean, tonight, where do we go from here? Because he doesn't have the options on the bench. We're not going to hang on here. The only chance I'm looking at of a goal here tonight is from a set piece. But for my money, we need to somehow get Souček further up the field as a matter of priority here. At the same time, perhaps dropping Rice a little bit deeper, split the centre backs and get the full backs bombing forward a little bit. We are pegged into our own half, and we need to do something very, very different to cause Man United a few questions. So we're losing this at this point in time. I mean, the score's 0-0, but don't be any doubt where this is going. We will not hang on to 0. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, you mentioned getting Souček further up the pitch, and as I say, it boils down to what I said earlier on. There was that one time where he came away with the ball and went forward and looked forward, and he had Antonio with 3 players marking him out left, and he was looking to the right hand side, and Bowen eventually arrived with a sort of I'm sorry I'm late, have I missed anything sort of thing, but by which time everyone was back. So we need to be, when we do get that break on, we need to be a bit more pacey, a bit more incisive with it, and not have to wait for a week for reinforcements to arrive.
Yeah. Well, that's what the team here think anyway at half time. Let's have a look and see what the rest of the fan base thinks before we do that. One for Dasnutnock over there. Thundersea Rovers, not Udinese or Notts County or Uve even. My local team who we proudly sponsor the under 8s Blacks. Of course, as you can see there, this is not one of their shirts, as you probably imagine. It probably swamp them. But anyway, Rio, let's go to the KUMB.com match thread on the forum and see what's happening over there. What's the view? What's the verdict from our fellow Hammers?
People not happy. Negative tactics being, by and large, absolutely slated. Moyes is coming for quite a lot of stick on the forum. Sticky's put, no team can maintain sitting back this deep for 90 minutes. It's impossible. They'll be expecting more of the same the second half, and I hope to God that Moyes just stuns us all by coming out all guns blazing. Steps has put, I think I'll go into the washing up. Seriously though, no shots on goal so far. I love Noble, and when we had a good chance of hitting him on the break, what does he do? He does a 180-degree turn and passes back to his own half. Moyes has seriously won me over this season, but this stay in the game for as long as possible and try not one in from a set-piece tactic is very frustrating to say the least. No, that's not two. No, wasn't dynamic enough. We want to play a counter-attacking football. I just wish we'd set up to attack. I'd rather lose 4-2 than 1-0. Wolf 359. 0-0 at half-time. Most of us would have taken that at kick-off. I don't get the Noble hate, though some of you made mine up about him before the kick-off. He's done the job set out of him. Rice is worrying me. Maybe the knock has hindered him. He's extremely deep. Maybe that might be the plan. Bowing his effort and not much else again. Antonio's been told to hold the ball up better. It's bouncing straight back in when he does get the chance most of the time. We are too deep. We are playing for a set piece, and maybe it will come, but possibly it won't. I doubt we'll keep a clean sheet at the moment. That is the recurring theme throughout the whole forum at the moment. We're not happy. People are frustrated by Moyes' tactics. Just one more comment I'm just going to point out from just trying to find it. Yeah, Brother Nero's book. Next season, I'd like to see a triple manager team. David Moyes for the teams against the non-Sky top six. Slaven Bilic for the games against the Sky top six. Avram back for all the League and Cup games, League Cup and FA Cup games. Premier League and FA Cup double, and with as for the taking, with them not in charge. And I'd just like to point out, and all, I think he's going to do his rendition of Barry Wright. Is "You're the first and the last," referring to our attempts and goal.
Pinky, thank you, Rio. You've been keeping an eye on Red Cafe in the first half.
Yeah, and talk about a tough crowd. I mean, you wouldn't want to be making your debut on Red Cafe as a comedian, because you're not going to get many laughs out of their support. They are basically slating their team. I mean, they are hammering Manchester United. Here's one. I think it's more a case of getting AWB off the pitch. It's pretty embarrassing to have seen what other fullbacks in the league do offensively compared to him. I'm not even talking about getting crosses in. He can't even make 10-yard passes a lot of the time. It's just post after post. If Moyes was our manager, we would be playing this way. If Ollie was the West Ham manager, would he be playing like this too? I don't know. I wonder if AWB could be converted to a centre-back. He has a natural talent for defensive work and still young enough. Painful first half, not helped by Moyes setting up like Burnley's way, more negative tribute act. I mean, I think, just reading through this, I think they're being ultra harsh on their own players.
Yeah.
And consequently battering ours and saying we're being negative. I don't think we're being negative at all. I just think Man United have got a game plan that is nullifying ours completely. And for the criticism they're making of their team, I think tactically their manager's got it spot on this evening, and their players are executing his plan. I mean, a goal will come. They've got all the ball. The game's been played in our half of the field again as the second half's underway. It might not be the free-flowing football they saw in the Fergie years, but in fairness to Solskjaer, he doesn't have the same personnel at his disposal, does he?
No, very much so. Very much so. Thank you, gentlemen, for those words from the forums. We'll be visiting those later on just to see what happens as the game progresses. We are underway in the second half. Manchester United, nil West Ham United, nil West Ham kicking from left to right. If you're watching the TV, if you're not, then it doesn't really matter. No changes, no, I don't think, at half time.
No substitutions for either side, although I might want to think about this, but it looks like Bowen and Johnson may have swapped wings. So Bowen seems to be playing on the left-hand side, and when I saw Johnson, he'd that's a costly slip from Cresswell. Cross country from Man United right. Oh, it goes straight across the goal, and there's Johnson on the right-hand side, where he played on the left in the first half. So interesting tactical switch there, but no changes in personnel.
Yeah, David Moyes looked pretty riled. I think Gnome there. I saw him come out just before the second half. He had a face like thunder and pointing quite aggressively to someone on the pitch. Doesn't look happy, does he, at the moment, the Moyes hire?
No, it's. I mean, he didn't look happy the first half, and again, possibly because when we had a good break on at that particular point, we didn't make the most of it. But quite who he was pointing at there, I'm not sure. But we've got a little bit of possession on the go now with Rice. But Rice wins it back after Bowen manages to lose it. But that wasn't a good ball. But again, it was Noble sort of getting a foot in where it needed to be, and we retained possession. And then let's just say that Antonio gives it away.
Yeah, it's we're 3 minutes into the second half. Still waiting for our first effort of the half.
Oh, here goes Diop. Now that'll be a yellow card, surely. Diop went on one of Pinky's favourite runs and got blocked on the halfway line. And yeah,
well done, Tomati. Yeah, well done. Coming out of his own half.
So yellow card for McTominay, and I'll leave Pinky a comment on the run.
Yeah, I mean, I think just to go back to the switch of Johnson and Bowen, I think that's the countermeasure against Luke Shaw, and I think that's why he's done that. I think probably feels that Johnson might cope with Shaw a little bit better. I suspect that's what Moyes has done that for. But West Ham on the attack here. Noble plays a cross in, headed out easily by Man United. Fred is now tearing upfield. And look at the pace with which they're breaking forward here now. Oh, and Rice does his job. Superb challenge. I mean,
just stunning defending that. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant from Rice.
I'm just waiting for it to happen. I'm about 20 seconds behind you guys now, so I'm just waiting for that tackle to come. Here it comes. Oh, nice. Yep. Very nice, very nice. And the second, I've just seen that one. Superb. Good stuff. The good thing is, I guess, Rio, about that is that Declan Rice seems to have recovered from that first half injury worry that we had when he went down in trouble after a similarly excellent tackle after just 5 minutes.
Oh, good block there.
Yeah. Thankfully, because we can ill afford to lose such a quality player. That boy, it gets better and better by the game. He's just a razor away from being world class. You know, get rid of the dodgy beards, Dick, and you'll be an absolute world class legend.
Now, I want to talk tactics here, because I'm just having a look at this. And Pinky, it looks to me like Soufal might have slotted into one of the three central defensive positions. It looks like we might have Cresswell and Johnson playing as wing backs here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly looking at the five at the back without the ball option. But I have to say, if the plan was to have Johnson handling Luke Shaw down that flank, on the evidence of what we've seen so far, it's failed miserably, because twice Man United have worked the ball in behind him. And on one occasion, poor young Ben Johnson just stood and stared. You know, the ball was moving quicker than he could think. You know, I mean, he's getting a bit of an education here right now. And, you know, I don't want to be too harsh on him. He's a very, very young footballer. But what you're seeing is probably the best left back in England at the minute, at the peak of his game. And he really is creating problems for West Ham tonight, is Luke Shaw. And I've gone on about it a bit, but he is the difference there tonight. He's the absolute difference.
Yes, as we said just before the halftime interval, Luke Shaw playing very much at his peak at the moment, having a really good season this year. Another great interception a few seconds ago from Declan Rice as he breaks out of West Ham's half. And no, Declan is going to be important for West Ham, isn't he, in this second half, with Mark Noble, so, you know, still a quality player, but tiring now. And, you know, as the game goes on, you expect Mark to sort of, you know, get a little bit slower. So I think Declan's going to be dead important here in this next 40 minutes or so.
That last interception from Rice was all about, it was all about, that was all in the brain. Whereas he comes in and he puts in those superb tackles earlier on, that was about just being in the right place at the right time, anticipating where the ball was going to be and just stepping out and taking it away. Rice is going to be very, very important. I mean, it goes without saying really how important he is to the team. I think I'll break off here. Cross came in from the right-hand side and it was allowed to go far too far across the goal. And Soufal managed to clear it out wide for a corner with that is. Dawson there was hesitant. I think Dawson didn't want to touch that ball in case it was an own goal. And corner to Man United just coming in now. Bit of an in-swing of this. Oh, it's in. And that's McTominay again. Poor defending from a corner, I think. We'll have a look at it again. But that's going to change the whole face of it. We're going to have to come out now. But they'll be disappointed in that.
Yeah, it's pretty route one as corners go. I don't know if I've not seen a replay, but it looks like Johnson is supposed to be picking up with Soufal at the near post, and between them they both managed to lose McTominay.
Did that come off McTominay? Let's have a look at it again. See better from this angle. In fact, that's a Dawson own goal.
Great finish by Dawson.
Yeah, that's a Dawson own goal.
He just can't stop scoring.
Obviously, first looking, it looked like McTominay, but Dawson really was at fault for the fact we had a corner in the first place there, because he should have been more decisive, and Soufal ended up having to stretch to put the ball out, and the goal came from a resulting corner. So, bit unfortunate, Dawson, but
I've got to say, chaps, I mean, Pinky, that one's. It's right up there with Ian Dowie for me. That's a fabulous finish by Dawson, and at least Fabianski no chance.
A great finish is a great finish, and had I been there, I'd have to say I probably applauded it, because you good goals at Old Trafford, you always want to cheer, don't you? And Craig Dawson, I mean, goal machine. I mean, it is. In fairness, McTominay had done his job and applied the pressure. And if you put yourself in that position, I think it's three times Manchester United have managed to fizz the ball along, between the goal line and our 6-yard box line. And on that occasion, Soufal cleared it for the corner kick, and they punished us for it. But the damage was done earlier. I don't think we sat ourselves particularly well for corners. Greenwood here, or Rashford rather, I think. They are giving us a bit of a schooling here right now, and we need to get a grip on this.
1-0 Manchester United. We all saw the danger signs, didn't we, in the first half? And it's only taken 9 minutes of the second half for the goal to come. And Gnome, it looks like an awful long way back for West Ham now. We've just seen another Man United attack. They look dangerous, and West Ham sort of in danger of folding a little bit here right now.
Yeah, it does. It's a long way back at the moment. What happened there was Johnson, who's been moved over to this side, got caught well up the pitch, and as the attack broke down, he was having he was giving giving Fernandes a sort of like a 60-yard start, and he's never going to catch that up. So, we're going to have to we're going to have to retain possession a bit more when we're in their half, as we are now, but and do all that without sort of giving away at the back. Good interception from Noble there, and Rice can bring it away now. Some good work from Rice. 1-2. Nice ball into Antonio. Antonio gets the shot in. There's a deflection, and that's gone for a West Ham corner. It's a good football there, particularly from Rice. Noble started it off with an interception. Nice 1-2 between Rice and Souček. And Antonio did well to manufacture a bit of space for the shot. Not quite sure how much it would have troubled Henderson. had it not been deflected. But so
interesting that we had Bowen charging up on the flank outside of Antonio there.
Yeah. Corner comes across. It's an in swinger and headed out to the edge of the box where Johnson picks it up. Johnson plays the ball back into the very deep, and Dawson just keeps it in. No, it's gone out for a goal kick, and so that little burst of activity is done for a few minutes.
Interestingly, gentlemen, it looks like changes are afoot. We've just seen Benrahma, Lanzini warming up on the sideline.
They're coming on now, actually, and just see who's coming off there. They're all being shown things on the tablet screens that they have. So, yeah, Lanzini and Benrahma definitely coming on to give us more of an attacking focus, as Man United somehow managed to play the ball out cheaply for a West Ham throw. Still waiting for the subs to be made. We're still in play now. Antonio wins another throw in. Will that be it?
I'd say Noble and Johnson are the ones likely to go.
Yeah, you'd expect West Ham to go 4 at the back now, wouldn't you? Given that we're chasing the game, Rio and Mark Noble. You know,
nice ball in from Antonio. Oh, well, now Souček's not looking happy with the challenge on him, but Antonio played the ball nicely around the corner into Bowen, who got the ball into Souček, and let's have a look here. Bowen played it through, cleanest of balls, but it's not the cleanest of challenges either, but it's given a goal kick. Different angle here, might see if that's a corner. Well, could have been given a corner. Not sure it was a penalty, but it's one you see given, as they say.
59 minutes. I think that'll. I'm not quite sure how that's been given as a goal kick, really.
Yeah.
Bit of a strange. I suppose technically.
The one thing it shouldn't have been was a goal kick. That was the point I think Souček was trying to make.
Yeah, how could it possibly be?
The ball or he didn't, and if he didn't get the ball, then it's another dangerous looking crossing from Manchester United that's dealt with by firstly Dawson and then Johnson, but Manchester United again begin to turn the screw.
We're still waiting for those substitutions to be made. West Ham about to bring on Lanzini and Benrahma, but we're just waiting to see. Pinky, Benrahma, you know, I've got to admit, I don't understand the clamour for his, for his inclusion in the first team. I'm still waiting to see him do something spectacular for West Ham. Yes, he looks pretty decent on the ball, but, you know, we've seen him so often, you know, take the wrong choice in the final third, shoot from goal from 25 yards when there's a pass on.
Another save from Fabianski. Manchester United getting the ball into the box. It came to the edge of the box. Not sure who had the shot, Pinky, but they're coming again now. We're beginning to get attacked in waves.
Yeah, the shot coming from the edge of the box. Fabianski once again diving low to his right to avert the danger. And it's two great saves from Fabianski, one each half so far. West Ham still looking to make those changes, and it looks like we need to make them sooner rather than later, Pinky.
Yeah, I mean, we're on the attack at the minute, and, you know, we had a good opportunity there. The move broke down with the ball at Souček's feet, but a cross comes in now, and he gets the header in, but it's off target. But, yeah, a little bit better the last sort of half minute or so from West Ham, but just to go back to the point you're making there on Benrahma, yeah, where'd you go with a £30 million player that isn't starting at West Ham? Where'd you go? Yeah, the fact that the manager tonight has picked 33-year-old Mark Noble ahead of him, and, you know, the rookie Ben Johnson ahead of him, it kind of suggests a lack of confidence in his ability to do some, should we say, the hard working elements. He's got a chance now to come on and see what he can do at the other end of the pitch. But, you know, I say it pretty much every week. He's a player that will make a mistake that will cost. Yeah, tonight it won't matter if it does, because we're a goal down. So if you're going to stick him on, do it at 1-0 down. What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
he might do something, but we haven't seen too much from him thus far in his West Ham career, other than a lot of huff, a lot of puff, but not a huge amount of real end product that hurts the opposition.
We have the changes have been made. It's Johnson and Noble who have been replaced as correctly predicted on here a few moments ago by Lanzini and Ben Wright. I mean, Rio, really that is the only roll of the dice that David Moyes has, is it not, in terms of what we've got on the bench tonight?
Yeah, most definitely. Just before the changes actually took place, we shown a little bit more attacking intent in the last couple of minutes, but we really need to change the dynamic. We need to get into the faces of Manchester United, press hard, cause them problems. It's been far from a vintage Manchester United performance. They've only beaten us because we've been so pretty inept and turgid, to be honest. We're sat far too deep, invited on, and of all the goals to concede, it's from a corner, which we've defended so well all season, and it's by our goal-scoring centre-back getting in the wrong end. But Lanzini's really got something to prove. Ben Rama, as Pinky rightly said, a lot of hype, a lot of talk about him. He hasn't delivered much at all. He always seems to want an extra second on the ball, which hasn't got this level. And because he hasn't scored yet, he looks almost chasing the goal in the last game. So he needs to step up some marks today. We really need him at the moment.
Great ball. Oh, you had to hit the target, son. Bowen, you've got to hit the target there. I mean, a great cross in. He's offside anyway, but a great cross in from Aaron Cresswell. And Bowen gets on the end of it. He's flagged offside. I mean, yeah, he's a good yard offside. But he sticks it wide of the goal. I mean, make him work.
It was a promising 3 or 4 minutes there, because he had a shot blocked on the edge of the box as well. And we were in their faces. We were winning the ball back, and we were bringing the game to them, which is kind of what everyone's been clamouring for. So let's just keep playing like this.
A little stat for you, gentlemen, while we've got a brief lull in play. West Ham have lost all 17 1-7 previous Premier League games when conceding first against Manchester United at Old Trafford. No, we certainly need to buck the trend there tonight.
Yeah. Although that's one of those stats, a little bit like the sort of thing that Test Match Special used to fill out a gap, on a Tuesday, and it's the first time that's happened on a Tuesday when there's an R in the month and things like that. So let's buck the trend. But Man United, great goalkeeping again from Fabianski, who comes out and takes a knock actually off Fernandes. The earlier save we were talking about, we weren't sure it was Fernandes who had the shot, which Fabianski tipped around. Fernandes is lying there on the floor, injured as well, but I think that was offside, wasn't it? That original to Rashford. But Fabianski did very well, very bravely came out of Fernandes' feet, and Fernandes just clips him after Fabianski's gathered the ball. I don't think either player are particularly seriously injured. I think it's just one of those impact ones that stings a bit for a minute or two. And Fabianski pointing to the top of the shin there.
Yeah, I think he catches him just below the knee, doesn't he?
Yeah.
If you check that. Now, just want to have a quick look at Jared Bowen. Seems to be struggling a little bit also. I don't know if you've seen this, but seems to be clutching his hamstring at the moment.
Oh, great.
So,
I didn't see that.
So just as we've brought on our only 2 first team substitutes in an attacking sense, Bowen seems to have pulled up. Hopefully that will only be something he's felt, a very minor thing that he can run off, rather than the sort of thing that keeps him out for 6 weeks or so. As Fabianski gets up having received treatment, he seems to be okay. Just about coming to the midway point in the second half, Rio, it's been, the first half was pretty damn disappointing, and the second half's pretty much followed suit, isn't it, so far? Although, of course, we have been a little bit more lively in the last few minutes.
Yeah, you just hope this is a season change, a change in personnel, more attacking intent. You've got to cling to the hope, haven't you? It's what West Ham fans all about. It's the hope that will eventually kill you. No, as I said, it's not been a vintage Man United performance, and they've not caused us that many real issues. We've been masters of our own downfall. I think we started with the wrong mindset, the wrong setup, and we're fallen victim to that. But hopefully this change of personnel will spur us on. It's certainly been a bit brighter the last few minutes.
Pinky, David Moyes' record against the top six is pretty damn woeful. Is this going to be another one of those nights?
It's looking that way at the minute, and you know, how many times do you have to say it in terms of the thinness of the squad, the lack of options, all the rest of it? I'd be a bit loath to get stuck into David Moyes this evening. I'd stay focused on the positive, which is, you know, we're in 5th spot with such a small squad, and that's highly creditable, really. You know, so I'm not too perturbed about his record against the so-called top six. You know, it's just a stat that people pluck out, you know, and the media love to come out with it. But do you know what? I bet there's plenty of managers that haven't got very good records against the top six. You know, not just David Moyes, and maybe that's why they're the top six.
Yeah, but it is particularly disappointing. I'm not sure it's just about the results. I just question. Sometimes you look at the way he sets his teams up, and I don't know if it seems to be ultra defensive, perhaps. In some of I mean, we've seen it against Arsenal in the Cup a couple of years ago, Liverpool earlier in the season, and you know, you're absolutely right. You can point to the personnel available here and say, what else can you do? But you know, it's one or two games you can say, yes, that's unfortunate. But you know, when you look at the last 20, 25 games, it becomes a bit of a pattern, and you just wonder if there's, I don't know. I don't know if there's perhaps something missing, or.
I mean, I'm just trying to think who Manchester United played last week. Yeah,
but come on, it's a one-off. This is a man. That's not. I mean, if you know, if we're going to look at go to extremes, this is a Manchester United side that were responsible for giving Sheffield United one of only 3 wins in the Premier League this season.
Well, again, I can only refer to conspiracy theories and send them down. You know, I mean, the most pitiful attempt to have history repeating itself. But you know, it's an off-level criticism at a number of managers, and maybe David Moyes more than most, that against the so-called top six, he doesn't have a go, you know, and almost settles for damage limitation. I think that's a really harsh assessment, that whilst there are numbers and data there to support it in terms of results, I'm not sure the data is there to support it in terms of how he sets his team up. I think tonight, if you look at the available personnel, what you know, if you ask the KUMB form, what would you have started differently? Yeah, a number might say, okay, Ben Rama and
Rama. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think a lot of people would say Ben Rama, wouldn't they? And I think this is the issue that's causing Moyes a lot of problem, isn't it, with the fan base, is that he just doesn't feel he's up to it. And I happen to agree. I think it's a fair assessment because, as we've said on here time after time, I'm personally yet to see anything from Ben Rama that says to me, you know, he should be starting in that team week in, week out. Its
fundamental problem is the mistake he is likely to make in our final third of the field, you know, is a bigger factor in the manager's decision making, that I suspect, than what he's likely to offer in the opposition's final third. And you know, so the risk doesn't outweigh, or sorry, the risk outweighs the benefit. Yeah, and that's
excuse me.
Yeah, but even if we started like with Ben Rama, I mean, what we're going to do? Have Ben Rama and Lanzini start and no Johnson and Noble? Oh yeah, that strike fear into Manchester United, wouldn't it? You know, Harry Maguire would be looking at going, and you are Syed who? You know, it's a lack of depth in the squad that's the problem.
Oh,
not how the manager per se is setting us up, in my view.
Well, this is probably a conversation that's better had after the game. We could talk about this one all night. You know, Ben Rama obviously has his fans out there And I guess, Moyes is only making a rod for his own back in a sense by continuing not to play him. But of course, David Moyes is the man who sees him week in, week out, day in, day out on the training ground, and obviously feels that he isn't the player to make the difference. And you have to go with that.
Well in, Souček. We're on the attack here now. Ben Rama, aforementioned, feeds Lanzini on the right, cuts in. Lanzini, Man United have got a lot of players back, but Lanzini's desperately looking to find an opening. Chips the ball wide out to Soufal. First time cross it in the middle. Maguire just gets a foot on it and then manages to prevent the corner. And Maguire's not very happy with his teammates. It's promising stuff there from West Ham. A couple of times we've looked at got in promising positions, and then a final ball's let us astray. Let us down in the last couple of minutes, but we're on it now, and that's Ben Rama manages to get it from under his feet, feeds Rice out to Diop, who's playing fairly well advanced, and Lanzini turns, and we get it turn a little bit of a screw ourselves at the moment, but it's Bowen nearly sort of beats himself and falls over. Oh, Diop. Now, Man United have got 3 against 2 here, 4 against 2. And they've got a lot of players over left, but West Ham are getting back now. And, it's out wide on the right there, but Man United really didn't make the most of that. And Diop gets a block in, and it's a free kick to West Ham. That was one of your moments, Pinky. I'll let you describe it.
I refer to players that will make the mistakes that cost week in, week out. And Ben Rama regularly gets a caning from me, as does Issa Diop. And there was another mistake for him that Manchester United really should have punished. Solskjaer will be raging that they didn't take advantage of that mistake. But just to go back very, very briefly to that Ben Rama conversation, he wouldn't have been starting tonight had Fornals been available, or had Jesse Lingard been a permanent signing rather than a loan signing. So, let's not kid ourselves that he's anywhere near the manager's first team. He's a long way off it. And the concern for me is we've spent 30 million quid on a player when the club is skint, that clearly the manager doesn't rate. And it's, well, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point. I mean, I think if anyone was under any doubt whether it was a Moyes signing or perhaps, one that was championed by those upstairs, I think the proof is there to see it in the last few weeks. The fact that Moyes just hasn't played, and tonight, as Pinky said, to keep him on the bench when an aging Mark Noble and players like Ben Johnson are given a start sort of says it all, really. But anyway, this is a debate. We'll come back to this after the final whistle. With about 15 minutes left to go, a few quick stats for you as we approach the last quarter of an hour. Man U possession 63% to West Ham's 37, 14 shots to Manchester United, 4 on target. West Ham 5 shots, still yet to have a shot on target after 75 minutes, 5 corners to Manchester United and 2 to West Ham United. Rio, 15 minutes left to go. Is there any way back for West Ham here?
Just as you say, Marcus Rashford is about to go into the book. Soufal advanced with the ball. Rashford stood in, is caught in quite late. And Soufal's a tough nut, but he's a little bit of pain down there.
Cynical.
Yeah.
I mean, if Her Majesty the Queen's watching, I mean, that MBE is going back to the palace, isn't it? I mean, in sort of true Beatles style. I mean, she hands them out, Marcus. She can take them back as well,
That's a horrible challenge.
Is that borderline red, Gnome, for you?
You get players who get away with things because they're strikers and they're not normally making tackles. And to quote, they're not that type of player. I can think of 2 or 3 players on the pitch who, if they'd done that tackle, they might have been looking at a red. We go back on this ground to Paul Scholes, who used to do, which always got you wondering, how many tackles of that nature does he have to make before he does become that sort of player? But I think I think he's got leniency for a striker's tackle. Now, Soufal gets the cross in, and it's blocked at the near post, and Manchester United bring it away. And Dawson's caught well out of position here, and it's Greenwood now buried down on goal. And he's hit the post. Fabianski beating all ends up. Dawson was basically swimming in treacle there, trying to get back.
Right. I mean, a moment ago, I was just about to praise Benrahma because he played a lovely ball inside the Man United defender for, I think it was Soufal, maybe across. So, you know, that was a really good bit of play for him. Then we lose possession. Initially, he starts sprinting back. And then when he gets about 35 yards away from our goal, he just drifted into a jog as Man United continued pouring forward and got the shot off that hit the post. And, you know, it's not enough. You've got to run. You know, you've only just come on. You keep sprinting all the way back and help your team defend.
Yeah. Because Dawson got caught in no man's land, and, you know, ball played into the box again. It's sort of more hopeful than anything else, and it's cleared away by Man United. Need to be a little bit more clever with our delivery into the box there, I think.
78 minutes gone. Manchester United lead by 1-0. The only goal of the game coming in the 53rd minute. An own goal. Craig Dawson on the score sheet again, unfortunately, at the wrong end of the pitch tonight. That's the goal separating the two teams so far. I mean, I suppose, Gnome, you could say, you know, we've prevented Manchester United from scoring tonight so far, if we're looking for things to...
True. Very true. Sorry, just seeing the ball hitting the post there. And I mean, spotter's badge to Pinky for watching the Benrahma cursory jog back once he got past the halfway line there. Saw it particularly well from behind the goal. But we're going forward now, and ball's out left, and Benrahma pulls it back to Cresswell. Cresswell's trying to find a cross, but not happening. So it's down the left. Ball's on the half-by line. Pulled back. It was pulled back. Eventually got to Souček, whose shot was blocked. Promising move, though. Promising move.
Better stuff from West Ham, and we certainly need it, Pinky. Running out of time a little bit now, but better stuff anyway. Looking...
Yeah, I mean, maybe running out of time. I mean, as of 15 minutes ago, my investment advisors told me that you could get 30 to 1 on a West Ham win. So that's probably up to something like 60 or 70 to 1 around now. But the point being, at 1-0 down, we're still in the game because do you know what? It takes a second to score a goal. And for all the dominance Man United have displayed this evening, you know, we've looked a bit more lively in the last sort of 10 minutes or so, and we might get lucky. You never know.
You do never know, and of course, absolutely right. We are still in this game. Not been a. They're still having waiting for our first shot on target. Of course, 80 minutes gone, but as Pinky says, it ain't over yet. It ain't over till it's over. To continue our musical theme for the night.
Rashford's just forced the corner off Soufal there. Soufal wasn't fooled by all the step overs and stuff, but Rashford played it off Soufal. Corner to Man United on their left. Rashford's looking completely and utterly shattered there, and Fernandes is sort of holding a leg a little bit, but is he going off there? Seeing what's happening. I think everybody's getting their breath back for the corner, I think. So, so it's Fernandes has come over to take the corner despite the fact he's clutching his leg. So let's see if we can defend this one a bit better anyway.
No, I will leave the stream in your hands for the next minute or two because I have to pop out.
Punches away, and the ball's back on the halfway line. Good goalkeeping, Fabianski, and punched it away. I was going to say before Dawson could get on it, but it gone past Dawson. Aimless ball played into the box, goal kick to West Ham.
Gnome, can I leave you in charge for the next 90 seconds or so? I have to pop out very, very briefly.
Okay, if you must. Have one for me.
I will do.
So Rio, we just had another promising situation go pear-shaped there for a bad pass. What do you think we need to be doing, and who do you think needs to be doing it?
I think we need to get more Lanzini on the ball. I think he's been very bright since he's come on. He's used the ball well. He's asked questions of Man United defence. The only thing is, where we're chasing the game now, we're asking more questions of them, but we're also leaving ourselves incredibly open at the back. And I know it's an old cliche, but I think the next goal is going to decide the game. I mean, I'm hoping that we can actually force an actual attempt on goal that's on target. And as I say that, we're advancing to the box now, feeds it in, and peters out to nothing. Yeah, we've really got to be careful because we're bombing forward a little bit more. We're asking more questions, but a slack pass here or there, we could be cut open once again, and they're not going to miss too many more chances the way they have been.
Yeah, nice little bit of footwork there from Ben Rama, Pinky.
Yeah, it was, and we've looked at a lot more positive. Souček playing 15 yards, 20 yards further up the pitch than he did in the first half, and the big change came with Nobes going off, and Moyes has just slung Souček much further forward.
Yeah,
and we've looked a lot more threatening. Rio quite rightly says we're also looking a lot more threatened. But I think when you're a goal down, you've got to do something, and there's no points for losing 1-0. But nick a goal here now, and it will feel like a defeat for Man United, and that's really the job now. Just nick a goal, we get a point. No one cares that we've been battered for 70 minutes of the game tonight. It's nick a point and drive, race the Man United fans back to London laughing your heads off. That's the last 10 minutes is what we're going to need to do.
Well, we just had a session there that Lanzini was in a good position, but with the defender nipped back, and there was a question of whether or not that might have been a corner, but it wasn't. So anyway, we better stop talking about the boss because he's back.
How are we doing? Have we scored 2 goals since I've been away? 1, maybe? None?
No. It only takes a second to score a goal, but it didn't happen in any of the 90 you were away.
84 and a half minutes gone. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. It's looking pretty desperate for the Hammers now. No more substitutions, I take it, in my absence?
No substitutions. Man United on the attack as we speak.
Okay.
Couple of promising positions, but nothing came of them from West Ham. Final ball again was lacking, and well, here we are.
Yeah, last 5 minutes.
5 minutes plus stoppage left.
In terms of West Ham's options, David Moyes' options, I mean, they're really Rio. There really isn't any options, is there? We've brought on Ben Rama and Lanzini, and you've got Odebeck, who never played in the Premier League. Coventry never played in the Premier League. Alves never played in the Premier League. You get the picture.
Yeah, there's no way there's another change coming at all. We saw Odebeck when he played his little cameo in the cup game. He looked woefully out of his depth then. So now is not the time. And also, since we made the changes, we've been far more positive. We've asked a lot more questions. We're not out of the game yet. The time's running out, but we've asked more questions. We've caused a few more problems. So we've got to stick with what we've got. But the changes have been on a more positive manner.
Yeah.
And let's hope we can eke something out now.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think how the post-match discussions are going to go. Everyone's going to be criticising Moyes for, in their eyes, making the wrong selection. But I think we can all see what Moyes has done here. It's a case of try and keep it tight, isn't it, for the first 60, 65 minutes, 70 minutes, and then maybe bring someone on at the end to try and win it. But it hasn't quite worked out. But what do you think, Gnome? I mean, do you think Moyes perhaps made a bit of an error by starting with Noble and Johnson and leaving, the quicker players on the bench, or the more, the more attacking players?
I think that's what he'd probably gone with. Sorry, Antonio's got a cross in, and it's Henderson picks it up. Uh, if you start with the premise, as we've been saying, we don't think Ben Rama's worth a start at this point. And if he's going to have an impact, it's going to be as a substitute. Then I don't think Moyes had any other options other than the starting lineup. And then given that dictates the way that we set up. It's a starting lineup full of not full of, but with defensive minded players.
Yeah.
For the four there. So this hinges on your view of Ben Rama. If you think he's worth a start, then you can say it was too negative a lineup. If you if you don't think he's worth a start, then who else are you going to pick?
Yeah, very much so, and I'm sure it will be as polarised as that in the post-match chat on the KUMB.com match thread and elsewhere on the forum, especially in the David Moyes thread, which kind of lurches from one side to the other depending on how we've fared that week. There doesn't seem to be any middle ground as far as that's concerned. But just over 2 minutes to go. Time beginning to run out rapidly now for the Hammers. Desperately need a goal from somewhere. A shot on target would be nice. We've created 7 shots in this second half, Pinky, but we're still yet to make Henderson work at all.
Yeah, and we've not been great tonight. That's for certain. But at the risk of repeating myself, 2 or 3 minutes to go.
Oh,
there's only a goal in it, and for all the battering we've had, we've still got a chance of getting something from this game. And Moyes is trying to, G the boys up there and say keep going. I don't subscribe to the theory that he set out too negatively tonight. I really don't. I think he's, in fact, I'd quite like to see him stick Trot on for the last 2 minutes, pull off Antonio, and just text the chairman and say, well, what other options have I got?
Bit controversial there, Pinky. What about Martin?
Yeah. I mean, Martin, I see him more as the midfield maestro, but in all seriousness, which other manager in the top flight, certainly in the top half of the top flight, is having to marshal his resources to the extent that Moyes is because they're so limited? And does anyone seriously think that 33-year-old Mark Noble was his first choice pick this evening if everyone was available? Never in a million years.
Well, we played some good football there, but just took an extra flick and the move broke down. Rice is doing his absolute nut at the referee there because we won the ball and the referee's decided we hadn't. And I think Moyes is fed up with that one. Let's have a look at it now. Absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Won the ball. It's clean.
Yeah, he's rather furious, Declan Rice there, and rightly so.
3 minutes of stoppage have just started, but that was poor. We were on a promising break there, and I'm not saying Fernandes went dived or anything like that. It didn't. But the ball was taken cleanly off him as Shaw gets into the box now, looking for help. Goes up to somebody overruns it again. The ball's not falling for us on the break. Man United come back again, but then Ben Rama's won it and now takes it away, and cynically taken out. That's got to be a card. I think it's James. Doesn't even look, does he? He knows. And
does it call James? Is he a Hammers as well?
Too many of those around.
That was just a wild flick out. No question of it, thinking about playing the ball. That was just he's getting away here. Let's stop in and just a flick out. Fabianski plays it long, and we're on the attack. Oh, now then, referee's not giving that, but Souček think got a bit of a shove there, and from Maguire, but it's one of those ones that 20 yards up the pitch, you might have got something.
Interestingly,
Dawson rather than Souček.
Yeah,
are they
just
having
going.
A kick? It's over if they have anyway. But yeah, little shove from Maguire. 20 yards outside the box. That's a free kick. Laws change once you get in.
Just going back to the Ben Rama debate, I'm not going to name him, but he's a friend of mine, someone I follow on Twitter, has just written tonight. He might have only been on for 30 minutes, but Ben Rama has been our best player by far tonight. I don't see it, but there you go.
Name him, name and shame. You know, I'm sorry, but you can't describe him as a friend, and if he's got such poor judgment that you know, I mean.
Last 20 seconds
number.
and push
his number again. You know, disable your DMs. Yeah, whatever you need to do. Yeah, but you know,
it's an interesting observation anyway, not one I'd necessarily subscribe to. But we're rapidly running out of time now. Well, that is time now. Yeah. Just waiting for the final whistle, really, to be blown here at Old Trafford.
Ben gets the ball in. It's blocked out for a corner. Will there be time to take it? No. Referee's blown before the corner, and there you go. Disappointing.
That is the final whistle at Old Trafford. It's finished. Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. West Ham managed to prevent Manchester United from scoring. Unfortunately, they couldn't prevent Craig Dawson from putting the ball in the back of his own net. The only goal of the game coming 8 minutes after the restart. A Fernandes corner turned in brilliantly into his own net, unfortunately, by Craig Dawson, echoing that Ian Dowie famous header against Stockport all those years ago. It really was an excellent finish, but unfortunate for Dawson, who's been absolutely magnificent in recent weeks. It's going to be very, very hard to find things to talk about, I think, here, gentlemen, in this post-match discussion, given that it's been a pretty turgid game, and I think that's been kind. We'll try and pick some bones out of it anyway, and Gnome, I'll come to you first on this one. Manchester United 1, West Ham United 0. What do you make of all that?
Availability dictated the setup, which was too defensive, I think, at the end of the day, looking back in hindsight. Things improved second half, but final ball, final decision too often was lacking. And, you know, there was one cross late on from Declan Rice, which just sailed out for a goal kick. And I'm not sure who looked more annoyed, me or him. It's a game, another day, and another bunch of players available that, we might have been able to get something out of. But unfortunately, our attacking intent was too little too late and not good enough. So move on.
That's
everyone else lost, so we haven't really lost any ground. There we are.
Well, that I think is the pertinent point, isn't it? The fact that Chelsea didn't beat Leeds, Everton lost at home to Burnley, Tottenham beaten by Arsenal. We said at the top of the show, Pinky, didn't we, that it's essentially a free hit for West Ham. If we get something out of it, then great. If not, you know, it's been the perfect weekend to suffer a defeat, and unfortunately, that's exactly how it's transpired.
Yeah, and you know, again, if we were asking for people's predictions in August, of, you know, predict the score at Old Trafford in March, yeah, we wouldn't have been looking at too many predictions of West Ham United 5, Manchester United 0, would we? You know, realistically, a 1-0 away defeat at Old Trafford is par. You know, so the forum tonight will be raging with debate about he should have played Ben Rama from a fortnight ago. You know, he should have stuck him on that early, kind of thing. I don't agree. all about opinions and all that. But the reality is, if you go to Old Trafford and you say, right, we're going to go all out attack. Yeah, and bear in mind that's all out attack without a recognised striker in your starting 11. You know, let's not forget Mikel Antonio is a make do and mend person to play in that position. How much damage do you think Marcus Rashford, England's Marcus Rashford and Mason Greenwood are going to do to you when they're running into acres of space behind you? You know, we were set up relatively defensively in the first half, and Luke Shaw was destroying us. Absolutely destroying us. So if we've gone all gung-ho and say attack ourselves, I would imagine we'd have gone in at the break 2 or 3 goals down. Because just saying, well, just have a go. That's what we say as supporters. Yeah, have a go, give them a game and all the rest of it. The reality is the professionals know if you go all out at Old Trafford with their front line, you leave acres of space in behind you and they'll exploit it. And then you're done. At 2-0, you are completely out of the game. At 1-0, you're still in it. And that's the point. Yeah, we didn't get anything tonight. It's a shame. I don't think we necessarily deserve to get anything. But what we didn't get was a 5-0 thumping.
Yeah.
And as I've said it before, come the last day of the season, goal difference might make a difference. And Leicester City's 5-0 win today, ultimately, those might be the 5 goals that guarantee them European football next season and deny us European football next season. In that sense, Tottenham today, some comedy stuff from them this afternoon. Chelsea again, failing to beat Leeds United. Quite happy with that. So we've lost. It's not a disaster. I said last week the team we had to beat was Leicester City. In our running. And that is the team to beat. I think we've seen Everton again show signs. I think I described them last week as a bit hit and miss. They blow a bit hot and cold. So I still think we're with a decent shout of European football. I'm not sure whether it'll be the senior competition or the junior competition, but I think we've got a good shout of being in that top 5 somewhere. And tonight, looking at it, it's the threadbare squad, and we say it every week. I simply cannot believe that Ben Rama was a priority signing for David Moyes. And yet, we saw the club's accounts published in the last week or so. It's screamingly obvious the club has no money. We are absolutely on our uppers. And we end up signing Ben Rama, who, Fornals isn't available. Lingard, not available. And he picks Johnson ahead of Ben Rama, and he picks Mark Noble ahead of Ben Rama. So arguably he's 5th pick by the manager tonight. And I don't think that's got anything to do with whether we set up attacking or defensively tonight. The balance of the team changed. Yes, when he took Noble off, that's not because he's put Ben Rama on. It's because he's put Tommy Souček 15 yards further up the field.
Yeah,
that was the difference tactically. When we looked a bit more positive in the last 10 minutes. So, not a disaster tonight. Not a great game to watch. For those that actually did plonk their mums down in front of it and say Happy Mother's Day, make it up to them on their birthdays. That's all I can say.
Very true indeed. A very happy Mother's Day to all the West Ham mums out there. Anyway, and I hope not too many of you were sat through what we've just watched for the last hour and a half. Anyway, Rio, Manchester United won, West Ham United won. No Jesse Lingard, no Pablo Fornals, and no goals. Was it ever going to be any different?
You would have hoped so. I mean, before the game, a win tonight would have really put the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of league performance and league positioning. What we've seen is that the manager set faith in a tried and trusted setup against bigger sides, you know. He wants to be compact, keep it tight. We're so good at set pieces. We'll try and nick a goal from that avenue. It didn't work. It's not because the tactic was necessarily at fault. It's just the personnel let him down. Ben Johnson started off quite brightly, in my opinion, but as the game grew on, Luke Shaw absolutely battered him down that left-hand side. And before he went off, he looked like an absolute lost soul out there, you know. It's probably not his confidence for 6 completely. Mark Noble, the legs just aren't there against the quality of that midfield against him. You know, McTominay, who works his arse off for Manchester United. Fernandes, we all know that what quality he's got.
Yeah.
And at 33 years old, it's hard for Mark to swing against that kind of calibre. Well, you can criticise Ben Rama all you like, you know. Moyes obviously doesn't trust him to play in that compact setup that he puts a lot of faith in, you know. The defensive discipline just isn't there. And in terms of going forward, he's not delivered it in spades this season, has he? You know, it's been very fleeting appearances of the ability that so many people put a lot of faith in him for, you know. We've seen it time and time again at West Ham that players seem to develop a myth about their ability and their game-winning performances and game-winning opportunities. The honest truth is, Saïd Benrahma hasn't delivered, particularly a £24 million price tag. He's not delivered much at all this season. I think out of the 2 players that come on, I thought Manuel Lanzini was the brightest spark of those 2. But what we're seeing again today is when we do play more compact setup, having Mark Noble as a third wheel in that middle, it just doesn't fit. It nullifies the effect that Thomas Souček has. As Pinky said, when Noble went off, Souček was 15 yards further forward and looked a threat. You've got 3 central midfielders who are so far congested, it negates any kind of attacking impotence that we get. We had Mikel Antonio in that first half back at 30 yards from his own goal. You know? When the ball did get up to him, he had absolutely no one around him again. It's a tactic that's worked quite a lot this season, but having that third person sitting deep in midfield really, really negates any attacking intent we have. And we look so disjointed and so kind of off the pace against it. It's not something that I want to see again.
Yeah. Perfectly summed up, really, gentlemen. I think all 3 of you, excellent stuff. Talk, you know, the big argument tonight is going to be Benrahma or Noble over Benrahma. This is what it's going to boil down to. I'm just watching Twitter out of my left eye while I'm watching with my right there, and I'm just seeing a stream of derogatory and negative posts coming through from people really who should probably know better about how David Moyes' tactics are awful and Benrahma should have started and what a great player he is. Including journalists as well. I've just replied to one on there, but we'll see how that one develops. But as you know, the point being, as I've just made, that Benrahma, you know, that West Ham still created no shots on target with Benrahma on the pitch, as was the case with Noble. But no, I'll start with you on this one. Noble over Benrahma. Would you have made that decision given what you've seen? It's difficult. You know, us fans, it's really hard, isn't it? Because we can sit here and pontificate all we like. We don't see these players day in, day out in training. Moyes does. David Moyes does. He knows exactly what he's going to get from a player. I think it was you. Was it yourself or Pinky made the point about that break from Fernandes where he hit the post? Benrahma started to chase him back and then gave up halfway through and thought, you know, I'll leave it for someone else. I mean, these are the sort of things that David Moyes will see in training, aren't they? And you know, he'll make a decision based on those things. And we don't really see those. We as fans, or a lot of fans, will just see Benrahma, the guy who's got amazing trickery when he's got the ball at his feet. They don't see the fact that he's not chasing a guy back who's 50 yards ahead of him, you know, and covering for other players. What's your view on that decision tonight?
Yeah, I mean, you have a think about this. But Ben Rama did. Let's get the good side of Ben Rama out of the way first, shall we? When he did come on, he did try and make things happen, and a few times he was sort of running at players, and he did cause a few problems. Now, the problem I have with Ben Rama is that he does that sort of thing off the bench when you've got 10, 15, 20 minutes to go. He'll come on and he'll be trying to make an effort, trying to make an impact or whatever. We don't see that from the start when he's selected as a starter.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's a horrible phrase that people use, with the impact sub, I think is what they come up with. And but that's what he is. He's someone that he's improving, but at the moment he's someone that you bring him on to try and break someone down, whether it be to sort of go 1-0 up or get an equaliser. But I don't see him being capable of doing that for 90 minutes. From what I've seen of him so far. So if you start on that premise, then it's if you picked him from the start, would we have got that? I don't think we would. And I don't think we'd have got what we got from him on an attacking basis. And we certainly would have seen a lot more of the not really doing an awful lot defensively. It was Pinky spotted that. I merely followed up with the when you saw the view of it from behind the camera. It was very frustrating to watch that. And I suggest that Moyes looking at that might have been doing his nut at some point. But so if you reckon you can't do that for 90 minutes, Fornals is injured. What else you got? I mean, if you'd had Fornals fit and Noble, then that might have been an interesting debate. But then we don't know what he would have picked there.
Yeah, good point. And I think it's interesting there that you touch on Fornals, because I think we're all advocates for our Spanish winger, and always speak positively about him, and yet there's a lot of people who don't see what he brings to this team. And in a funny way, Pinky, I think you've probably seen more tonight what Fornals does bring to the team by him not being out there, if you get what I'm saying, in a sense, because
I mean, they say some of the best games you play are the ones you don't, and how often do you hear the clamour for a player to be included who's been out of the manager's thoughts for a while? In terms of Pablo, we talked about him at the top of the show, his work rate, his perpetual motion. He is non-stop, running all evening, and we missed a bit of that tonight. But I understand why supporters, are frustrated and what have you, but I think we need to be a bit careful in saying, that's why I was picking up on your comments about Moyes and the top six and all the rest of it. Luke Shaw was genuinely world class in that first half.
Yeah,
he knew exactly what he was doing. His manager knew exactly what he was doing in telling him to play in that precise spot, and that's what you're up against. This isn't the Rose and Crown playing the dog and duck. Each team, each club is looking at the opposition with an army of video analysts. They're pointing out all the potential weak spots. It's a hard gig, and it's a lot more in depth than we'll stick on Ben Rama and see what he can do, kind of thing. The analysis that they're doing and what they know about the players from what they do week in, week out, not just on the training pitch, but what the video analysts will actually be, even as we're chatting away here now, we'll be cutting and splicing tapes together for David Moyes, pointing out all the good things and all the less good things that have gone on this evening. And I'm afraid we've got to Old Trafford, lost 1-0, not because of a lack of ambition on behalf of David Moyes, but because of a lack of funding from David Sullivan.
Yeah.
You know, and ultimately, for supporters to be calling for the inclusion of Ben Rama, well, okay, make something happen, blah, blah, blah. I chucked another name in there earlier this evening, Edison Cavani, who, yeah, he's injured for Man United at the minute, but he would absolutely 100%, even the aging Edison Cavani, walk into West Ham United starting 11. No doubt about it, no ifs, buts or maybes. He would be first pick every week as a striker. The fact that David Moyes is having to make do and mend with Mikel Antonio, who had a bright start, but, you know, faded because you can imagine he plays every single week. And against the caliber of opposition we've had tonight, it's a tough gig. You know, Ben Johnson there this evening and Mark Noble then, you know, sitting behind him and Bowen on the other side. We said Shaw made sure that Bowen was pegged back in that first half. Yep. Johnson was no outlet at all. And Noble, bless him, he just doesn't have the legs to get up and down the field. But I'm not convinced that Ben Rama and Lanzini would have been better picks in the first half because of their lack of defensive contribution. And 1-0 down at Old Trafford, you're still in it. 2-0 down, you're out the game. Yeah. And we saw, was it last week against Leeds United? They had the ball in the net in the opening 10 minutes. Fortunately, both ruled out. But that's what a quick firing, quick starting team can do to you. You know, if you want to give them a game of football, but imagine going to Old Trafford and doing that because what? We're going to bank on VAR and the Lino's flags. That's not much of a game plan, is it? You know, the manager has to think about it a bit more deeply than that. And you know, I think we really are short on options and therefore short of attacking personnel that you can trust to do a job well enough at one end of the field, but still do quite enough at the other end. You know, we saw the difference between, say, Ben Rama and Antonio. There's a situation in the second half where Antonio, might be in the first half, where Antonio sprinted back fully 60 yards to defend. You know, flat out, full tilt, to the point I'm watching him thinking, don't do your hammies running back to defend, Mikel. Side Ben Rama, been on the field less than 10 minutes, lets his man go, and his man just kept sprinting, and Ben Rama just slowed to a jog and said, oh, well, there's a defender over there can deal with that. Not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, but I maintain it's not Moyes, it's not David Moyes, it's David Sullivan. He needs to find the money. And when he finds it, don't waste it on players that the manager doesn't really want. It's not difficult.
No, very good stuff. I'm kind of loath to do this now, gentlemen, but it is part of our post-match discussion. So I guess we're going to have to do it at some point. So we might as well get it out of the way. Rio, the KUMB.com forum match thread. What's going on in there? Tell us what's happening and bring us some joy. I'm sure it's not going to be joyous at all.
I don't know anyone called Joy. Otherwise, I'll call her up and get her over straight away. No, there's nobody happy at all in the forum whatsoever. Moyes is getting a lot of pelters. He's been accused of cowardice, negativity, every other byword that you always get in post-match defeat, you know. But the lack of intent tonight has been exacerbated on the forum. I was trying to point out a couple of those kind of comments, but also a couple of comments on the way that the team misfunctioned at times as well. Funky Chicken Book, this is a serious question. Does the majority of our squad suffer from colour blindness? I refuse to believe a Premier League club can be that bad in passing the ball to a teammate. Dean Henderson must have been smoking a cigar all evening. And already we are seeing what happens when we lose one or two players to injuries or can't play due to the lack of funding from the owners. Would Noble have played if we invested in a central midfielder? It took Fornals' injury or for Grandpa Noble to be thrown into into a team competing for European place? And did the attacking players do enough in Lingard's absence? The answer is obviously no. Rice and Fabianski are the only two players to come out with credit tonight. Simon 1982. I thought we were rubbish. You can blame Moyes, but our passing was poor, our decision making was poor, and we were still poor when Lanzini and Benrahma come on. Both of them did absolutely nothing. 8 subs, 2 of them keepers, 3 kids. We've been excellent this year, but 2 or 3 injuries to first team players was always going to hurt us. Danny Boyd, DJL put, I actually thought the last 15 minutes we should have swapped Bone Antonio and got Antonio wide. He's one of our better players, and these games he seems so isolated, he might as well not be on the pitch. Let's get him on the ball and get him out wide to try and beat a man or two. Yeah, I'm trying to, because obviously there's loads of comments about negativity, cowards, got no intent. So I'm just trying to point out a few that at least a bit more constructive rather than the pelters that he's getting.
Yeah.
Ironing Board, just to finish off here. Ironing Board put, lost 1-0 away to the second best team in the country via an unfortunate own goal. It's hardly a result worthy of over-the-top knee-jerk reactions. Next game out, we'll have Lingard on the back and hopefully Fornals too. Bone was disappointing again, despite his starting berth. I felt we were too slow to get the ball out into the box once Benrahma and Lanzini did come on. Benny needs to work on releasing the ball a little bit quicker, as you need to be more proactive to work the opposition keeper. Yeah, so away from those kind of comments, it's all Moyes is an absolute nutsack.
Yeah, I think there's a fair bit of that about tonight, but anyway, there you go. That's what you expect. Football fans, don't you love them? Hey, Pinky, I've got a feeling that the opinions on Red Cafe aren't going to be exactly complimentary from the Man U fans, even though they've seen their team go second in the table and record another 3 points tonight.
Yeah, I mean they're a tough crowd, and you know if you've grown up watching your team win the league 2 seasons out of 3, which many of their supporters would have done in recent decades, yeah, you can understand what they're saying, but in the same way that we're saying our manager's got a paucity of options, I think it's fair to say that Solskjaer isn't exactly blessed with them at the minute either, for one reason or another. The difference is he spent 75 million quid on a centre-back, when if you say, well, actually, if money's a bit tight, what's wrong with a loanee from Watford, and who makes as much difference to our team as Maguire does to the Man United team, so to speak. But Red Cafe tonight is, I'd say it's split. There's half of them basically saying a win's a win, and at this stage of the season, that's all we need. The other half basically saying it's not good enough. This is Manchester United and all the rest of it. It's in terms of our contribution to the game, they're pretty much unanimous in saying we didn't deserve anything. They've all clocked the fact that we didn't work their keeper at all this evening, which is true. But it's not a happy, chat board. Let's put it that way. It is muted pleasure, shall we say. It's a result they're filing under. A win is a win, but I wouldn't want to watch it every week. And I think that's probably fair. I wouldn't want to watch that every week either. But only one team really looked like winning this evening, and that was Man United. But I've said it, a number of times. We could have nicked a draw, and one or two of their posters are actually making that point. They're saying there's a guy here, Huey77. Take that win. We were much better in second half. West Ham's negative first half, got what they deserve, nothing. I'm thinking Luke Shaw has to be the best left back of the league. Never under pressure, absolutely calm on the ball, doesn't give it away. Man of the match for me by distance. 2 centre backs were good as well, controlled the game. I thought a few scare moments dealt with, and that's a plus. Grinding out a win like this will give them some positives. Rice looked West Ham's best player, and their keeper had a good game. Absolutely, I think it's fair comment. It's probably the fairest comment on there. and you know that person he's picked our two best players on the night, and made the not unreasonable point that only their lot looked like they were going to win it, and I think that's fair.
Okay, good stuff. That's the forums for you wrapped up. The KUMB.com forum. Match Thread is still open for comment. If you haven't already done so, feel free to go in and have your say there, or also here as well on the live chat on YouTube. And let us know what you thought of the game. Wasn't exactly one to write home about, or one that will live long in the memory, was it? But it's another defeat for West Ham anyway. Gnome, have we had anything from the managers yet? Anything from Moisey?
Solskjaer was just on a second ago. I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to him. Had a few words from Jared Bowen.
Okay.
Quote, obviously disappointed. In the second half, we were better with our press, but we shot ourselves in the foot when we broke on the counter-attack. We didn't take opportunities to get crosses in the box. We'll learn from it and go again. When you play Man United, you're going to have spells when you're out on the ball, so you have to keep your shape. We hung in there when we needed to, and we did have opportunities, but we weren't clinical enough. In the first half, we weren't that great, so going in at 0-0 was probably good for us. Second half was about building and staying in the game to get that goal we wanted. We were pressing and running after them, but when we got to the final third, we were rash. Want to get back to me? We've got Moyes on now.
We'll do. While we're doing that, gentlemen, just waiting for Moisey's comments to come in, I'll give you a couple of stats. First of all, the overall match stats, possession, Manchester United. In fact, this didn't really change a lot from the first 10-15 minutes, kind of set the path really for the rest of the game. Manchester United enjoyed 63% of possession to West Ham's 37%. Shots wise, 15 shots for Manchester United on the day, 4 on target. Once again, West Ham limiting the opposition to just a handful of shots on target. And thankfully, Lucas Fabianski was on hand to make sure any that were didn't hit the back of the net, for Manchester United at least anyway. West Ham, 7 shots overall, not a single effort on target. 6 corners to Manchester United, 2 to West Ham. And the full-time expected goals stat reads Manchester United 1.43, West Ham 0.56. I'm struggling to think where that 0.56 came from, which particular efforts they're referring to there, given that we didn't have any on target. Maybe the blocked effort from Souček. I don't know. But anyway, a couple of comments from... or one comment in anyway from an ex-player. Trevor Sinclair's taken to Twitter to say that West Ham were too respectful and negative once again. We were miles better after the changes in the second half, but the boys proved they can compete. So time to back them if we're going to have a proper go at the top 4. I don't know if he means back Benrahma and Lanzini, or whether he means the board backing the manager. It's not quite clear. So make what you will of that one. And a couple of stats for you before we move on. Across 2 games this season, Bruno Fernandes has created 13 chances versus West Ham in the Premier League. The most any player has created against one specific opponent this season, which is interesting. Fernandes, of course, he was phenomenal in the corresponding fixture in the second half when he came on as a sub, turned the game around completely, hit the post tonight. But once again, being credited for being Manchester United's key player. One more stat for you. Only Harry Redknapp has managed more away Premier League games at Old Trafford without winning than current West Ham boss David Moyes. That's 15 for Harry Redknapp. 15 times we saw him go there and fail to win. And David Moyes has drawn 4 and lost 10 since then. Yeah, a couple of stats for you. Gnome has timed that perfectly. Look, David Moyes has finished. Gnome, what did the manager have to say?
Before you, I've got one more stat for you.
Okay.
Well, if it's a stat, I don't know if it counts or not, but when was the last time you saw a team not bring on a sub? Man United didn't today, so...
Good point. Very good point.
Anyway, to Moyes. He conceded that we played a bit too deep, particularly in the first half, and he was concerned about how Shaw was getting at us, which is why he changed things around a little bit at half-time. When we were, he thought we played better after the changes he made with excuse me, Ben Rama and Lanzini come on, and but he thought our play on the break was poor today. Not what we're normally about, and but he did think the last 15-20 minutes were a lot better. The final question he was asked was, hindsight's a wonderful thing,
yeah,
but if you could have changed anything about the way you set up today, would you have done so? And he just said no. There you go.
Excellent. There you go. Well, I mean, I'm glad someone actually asked the question, because as we said, it's the question that everyone is going to be asking tonight on the forums and on social media. I just want to clarify that last stat I read. I was kind of reading that on the fly, and I think I got it a little bit wrong. It wasn't matches as West Ham manager, it was matches as a manager, full stop. Harry Redknapp has been to Old Trafford 15 times with all of his clubs, failing to win there. David Moyes 14, not just with West Ham, because obviously that'd be silly. He hasn't been there 14 times as West Ham manager. So yeah, it just unlucky for West Ham that both of them managed West Ham for a good majority of those 29 fixtures. Man of the match, gentlemen. We're going to wrap up fairly soon. Suppose there's only two real contenders tonight, is there? Declan Rice and obviously Fabianski in goal. Rio, who would you go for? Or someone else?
Definitely Fabianski. He made some absolute crucial saves. And for someone who's been getting a little bit of stick every now and then, last few months, I thought he did exceptionally well. And he's looked back to his best tonight. So he's brave in control of his area. Crucial saves. Can't ask nothing more.
Okay. Fab for Rio. Pinky, how about you?
But for Fabianski's contribution, 4-0 would have been the score tonight, probably. You know, he certainly made a couple of saves that other keepers would have let in. So he definitely made a difference. And a very significant difference. But I'm actually going to give it to Declan Rice, because 2 or 3 times tonight he made full-on wonderful challenges that would have had every West Ham United supporter on their feet, no doubt about it, giving it large. You know, famous players in the past will be doing it as a matter of routine. I won't make the comparison, but ultimately tonight he looked a really good footballer, Declan Rice. One loose cross towards the end. I'm sure when his stats come out, that'll be in there somewhere. But he'd be my man of the match tonight, because ultimately, of our outfield players, I think he was the only one that played anywhere near his full potential this evening. So for me, he'd be our man of the match. But Fabianski, a very close runner-up.
Good stuff. Thank you. Gnome, Rice, Fabianski, somebody else?
Barry White. No, I think Fabianski.
Fab for you.
Fabianski for me. Yeah, we've only done one goal dent to our goal difference, and that's pretty much down to Fab. So I'll go with Fab.
Okay, so that's 2 for Fabianski, 1 for Rice. I'm tempted to go Barry White as well. I'm tempted to go for Craig Dawson for the header. It was a lovely finish. Unfortunately, it was at the wrong end of the pitch, but interesting. I mean, I think you forget it. Declan Rice put in a great performance tonight, and you know it's easy to forget that after 5 minutes it looked like he might not be able to continue, because he took that nasty knock. But he still got up to put in a wonderful performance, and you know I think you could see there was that incident right at the end, wasn't there, where was it Fernandes? I think he tackled the ball cleanly, and the foul was given against him, and you could see just how disappointed he was, absolutely furious at the decision, and you know you can see how much it means to him, and I love to see that in a play. You know, we see so many what are termed mercenaries in the Premier League that you know in these days, who just go through the motions essentially, pick up the wages and you know go back to their families or whatever. And then you've got someone like Declan Rice who just lives and breathes football, and it's just wonderful to watch. So it's you know, he was fabulous tonight. But you know, I think I'm going to have to go with Fabianski as well, because I mean, Pinky pointed it out, it's a great shout. Absolutely right. If someone else is in goal there, that's 3 or 4-0 tonight. You know, pushed the shot against the post, didn't he? I think the only time he was beaten was when Fernandes sent the other shot against the post, but you know, he was beaten because it didn't hit the back of the net. It wasn't goal bound. So yeah, back to his best tonight for Fabianski. And of course, we should point out for those who are unaware that he recently signed a new 1-year extension to his contract earlier this week. So perhaps that has something to do with it. But he definitely showed what a huge asset he is for West Ham at the moment, and looks good for giving it, you know, another year at least anyway. So Fabianski, 3 for Fabianski, 1 for Declan Rice, and both were exceptional tonight. 2 really standout players in what was a disappointing performance for West Ham. Before we go, we shall, as we always do, look ahead to West Ham's next fixture, which is a week today against Arsenal. It is another Sunday game. Fortunately, this one's a little bit earlier. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff next weekend, as opposed to a 7:15 fixture, which means we can probably ramble on a little bit longer next week than we will do tonight. Arsenal, Rio, I shall start with you on this one. Are you looking forward to that one? They had a good result today, didn't they?
Yeah, decent result for them, beating inferior opposition. I mean, I constantly say it every year. The Arsenal's teams seem to be getting progressively worse. Mikel Arteta has come in. He's probably the most overrated coach in the world at the moment. I don't see really what he's done to improve Arsenal. He's made one very astute loaning signing of Martin Odegaard, who looks a very, very good player indeed. I'm just hoping we're going to have Lingard back, hopefully Pablo Fornals. Now, our transition from defence into midfield into attack with those 2 players back will make a world of difference. We'll be a lot quicker, a lot more fluent. And I'm incredibly hopeful that we'll turn this disappointing performance around, have our 2 key attacking midfielders back, and we'll absolutely fly at Arsenal and beat them 3 or 4-0.
Well, I'm sure we'll certainly take that one. Thank you, Rio, and thank you for your company tonight. Gnome, Arsenal next week. It was a bit unfortunate, weren't we, earlier in the season? We certainly owe them one.
Yeah, and Rio's hit the nail on the head there. Lingard will be back. Fornals, well, we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But even just if Lingard would have made a hell of a difference out there today. You know, he does make a big difference to that side. Even just purely the sort of psychological thing of having somebody you know is quite good. They'll turn up next week and they'll think, well, we've got Lingard back. You know, we're not on the back foot like we might have been. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I mean, yeah, I did watch most of the game they played this afternoon, which yeah, it was funny, wasn't it? It just, everything that could go wrong did, and it was just amusing. So I think they'll find us a tougher nut to crack. Yeah, it should be a good game. And as you say, we owe them one.
We certainly do. Thank you as always for your company tonight. No, we shall see you next week. And finally, to round us off this evening, the Pink Palermo, West Ham United versus Arsenal. It's one of our colleagues or former colleagues who is experiencing a little bit of a difficult situation at the moment. And this is one game that I'd love to see us win, if for no one else but for him. But do you fancy us next week?
Funny enough, I was just going to make that very point, Graham. And do you fancy us? It depends upon personnel available. You know, get Fornals and Lingard back in the team. It makes a massive, massive difference.
Yeah.
Arsenal, I think, are no great shakes. I think there's a young lad, double-barreled name that they've been picking recently. I think is quite decent. but it's not a vintage Arsenal team. They are a team who I would go at from the first minute. You know, no doubt about it. I'd absolutely have a tickle at Arsenal from minute one, and I'd quite fancy Antonio running at their centre backs and dragging them all over the field. And I think if we could have Lingard and Fornals on the field, linking up with Antonio, I think that would give us some real options there. I think, you know, the two in midfield, Souček and Rice, are both top draw. And I just think, you know, today showed it was what was in front of those guys that determined the manager's thought process, perhaps. Arsenal, go for it, get a win, and really put the pressure on those other teams vying for the top 4 or 5 spots. And because Arsenal aren't going to be one of those teams. You know, they've had their cup final today. They've beaten Tottenham Hotspur. Arsenal supporters will now say, okay, crap season, but we've got the result that we needed. I think next week they might have their foot off the gas a little bit. And if we go full tilt minute one, yeah, I think we can beat them. Absolutely.
Okay, good stuff. Well, we shall be here with you again next week, next Sunday, as I said, from 3 o'clock. Well, from about 2:30. Actually, we'll be live on KUMB TV's Eyes Up Mother Brown. Do join us again next week. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show this afternoon. As always, we thank you for sticking with us and for all your comments, which we love to read as the match is going on. And yeah, that's just about it. I mean, let's finish on a positive note, shall we? Here we are. There's 10 games left of the Premier League season to go. West Ham, 5th in the table. We are just 3 points behind Chelsea in 4th place, so we're still that close to a Champions League spot. We're still above Tottenham. We're still above Arsenal. We're still above another 15 Premier League teams. As Rio pointed out earlier, we're 34 points better off than Sheffield United this season. Could be worse, lads, couldn't it? Anyway, that's about it from myself and the rest of the team tonight. Thank you, as I said, for joining us. I'm off to be called pure old names on Twitter by Said Ben Rama fanboys. And that's the rest of my evening sorted out. We'll see you all again very soon. Until next time, come on, you Irons.